On the Infinity Sports Network.
Endlessly fascinating what's going on with former Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, and for our friends on the West Coast, looks like Nico could be headed back to the LA area. Good morning, Pearl. How you doing?
I'm good. Probably doing better than most people in Knoxville and maybe most family members of Nico.
Oh, no.
I don't know how everybody's feeling today. A little annoyed because we had the final report and then everyone walked it back an inch. I want him signed and sealed and delivered in a Bruins jersey.
Yeah, UCLA looks like the match. He's in the portal, but this is like gone beyond. When's the last time we were really talking about a UCLA quarterback like this? This has really gone beyond both UT, I think, Tennessee, and gone beyond UCLA. It's become just sort of like an endlessly fascinating, as I said, story because this is a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, led a team to the college football playoff last year, a team in the SEC, mind you.
Right.
So really a gauntlet of a schedule, and then a day before spring practice is all of a sudden not showing up in the portal, trying to shake down the team for more money, or trying to ask for more money. I shouldn't say shake down. Trying to ask the team for more money. They said, hit the road. And we've got this like major story now in college football. And I think for a few reasons. One, a question for you. Who's going to come out of here looking better, if anybody? Is it going to be Tennessee? Are they going to look vindicated by saying, Nico, thanks, but no thanks? Or is Nico going to ultimately get the last laugh here where he leaves and he's going to look like a $4 million quarterback?
Well, I think
is what he wanted.
Yeah, he's probably going to get paid, what, like 1.5? So he'll deliver on that because in the actual marketplace of quarterbacks, he's not going to get much. Right now, Tennessee is everyone's hero. College football coaches are saying, yes, you took a stand. And the media, for some reason, has really come out anti-player on this. They've basically saying, hey, you're screwing teams over by doing this too late. I think at the end, 6 months from now, whatever, what are we in April? Yeah, 6 months from now, we're going to say, man, Tennessee really got hurt by this. Because I think Tennessee had a great chance to do very well in the SEC and get to the playoff, maybe even win the SEC. And now, what are they? Then without Nico, it feels unlikely that they're going to get a transfer at this stage that's going to make them a contender in the SEC. So, yeah, they look like the heroes now, but is there any doubt that this is going to fall apart next year and Josh Heupel's going to lose a year?
Well, I don't know if everybody is behind Tennessee on this one. I think that everyone is not being so much like anti-player here. I think they're specifically critical of how Nico's camp has handled this.
Right.
I don't love that it's, kind of like the blowback is coming on the player. He's a young guy who I do not think is really calling the shots here. I don't think he's the puppet master behind the scenes. I think this is a classic case of family members and agents, everyone getting involved, having different agendas, and just being over their skis a little bit on what they think their player is worth. But I'll tell you somebody who shares your sentiment that Tennessee is going to be the ones who really pay the price here. And that's Urban Meyer, who is a national champion, multiple schools, says Tennessee is in trouble.
Here's the reality is Tennessee is screwed. I mean, they got a problem.
That's from the Triple Option podcast. So here's what Urban Meyer is talking about, having to go into the portal to get a QB or having a quarterback with no experience.
Lose a potential high draft pick. You have the backup quarterback left last year, and now you have a redshirt freshman that threw 9 passes and a freshman. You have zero experience. And the portal opens as we speak. They are going to have to go get one.
Another thing that Urban Meyer brings up here on the Triple Option podcast is about, obviously, it's a fever pitch in Tennessee, Pro. Like the fan base, they're rabid. This is life, for Tennessee, the Tennessee football team. So he says that while everyone is praising Josh Heupel now, the head coach, for taking a stand and saying no one's bigger than the team and the power T, so the fans aren't going to be so happy when the games start.
Everybody's saying, hey, nice job, Tennessee, making a stand. I got a little comment on that. Tennessee plays Florida usually every year in October. Can you imagine if the game's going the other way and Coach Heupel grabs a microphone and stands on the 50-yard line in Neyland Stadium and says, hey, it's okay, I made a stand way back when.
Oh.
Urban knows the game, man. He does. And he
Yeah,
knows
I mean,
what it's like to be a coach with these rabid fan bases like at Florida and at Ohio State, where they are forgiving one day and unforgiving the next. And you can win national titles and still get run out of town.
That is, I mean, listen, I guess I completely mirrored what he said. I think it is true. I think everyone's saying Josh Heupel, that line he had, no one's bigger than the power T. Yeah, let's go college football. But then if they lose 2 SEC games and are out of the playoff, they had a great chance to make. I'm just figuring Nico was not perfect by any means, but good enough to get them to the playoff this year. Don't you think he takes a jump in that offense next year and that they're a favorite? So now that's just gone. So they blew not that they blew that opportunity. I totally agree. Nico had some bad advisors around him.
Sure.
But it definitely is not, it's not a good day for the power T.
Okay, I'm looking at this a little bit more opposite, and I'm not saying that this is anti-player. I'm not trying to be anti-Nico. This Tennessee team, if you actually, we were watching it very closely last year with a 10-3 season, but really 10-2 before they got blown out in the college football playoff game at Ohio State. This was a defense and run the ball team. And they have defensive players who are going to be going in the NFL draft. What is it, next week? And they were not a quarterback centric team. Nico's the big name. He was the big high school recruit. He got the big NIL deal. But he threw 6 touchdowns against SEC opponents that actually were bowl eligible. You know, it's not like he was going in and just lighting the world on fire with these stats. And he wasn't, yes, he's the focal point because he's the quarterback and that's what we do and that's how football generally is. But it was a defense and run game type of team. And I think that's what inspired, or that's what empowered rather, Josh Heupel to say, I'm not paying $4 million for you. You know, you want to do this for 2.4 or whatever we agreed to before, come on back. But 4 can't get there because you are actually not the offense. And to your point, yes, are you expecting him to take a big leap forward? Well, who sees him more than his head coach? Who's an offensive head coach?
Yeah.
Like maybe they saw something and said, I don't know if he can make a leap that justifies doubling his salary. Goodbye and good luck.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Gotta trust the coach here.
I can't imagine. Okay, so you're saying that this is about football for Josh Heupel in the same way. You know what? Maybe you could be right, but still, I think that to do that at 19 in the SEC, to do as much as he did do, I can't imagine he wouldn't be really good next year. I mean, don't you think that Tennessee's win total goes down 2 games?
So I was thinking about this also.
That's
with
9.5, by the way, and I think it goes down to 8.5, and maybe I think by the season time 7.5.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I might take the over there, but here's the thing about this. I also wonder about this for Tennessee, which is you're in a 12-team playoff now, and we understand how much, the SEC gets favored. The SEC and the Big Ten get favored in this current version of the college football playoff, right?
Right.
And they're going to change the seeding and all of that. So in a future year, would Tennessee have had to go to Ohio State? I don't know. We'll see because they're going to make changes to the college football playoff. I don't know if people look at Tennessee and say, every single year we expect you to be in the college football playoff. I think they're the kind of program where, yeah, there's a lot of expectations, there's a lot of hype. But if they miss a year, I don't think Josh Heupel's out.
No, he's not out.
That's what I'm
still,
saying.
They had a great, I mean, I'm not arguing with that. Of course, Josh Heupel is one of the most well thought of coaches in the country. But still, to just give away a chance to compete for a title, especially because there's no way you can ignore it. The SEC is tremendously down. I mean,
but they still get a lot of love.
No, I'm saying, but they have a great opportunity with Georgia being down. I mean, Georgia, I think, is number 1 coming this season. But Alabama is not Nick Saban's Alabama. I mean, now Florida is supposed to be this powerhouse. Have we seen anything from them in years? I just think there's a great opportunity specifically this year because Alabama is going to have sort of a mishmash of quarterback. Georgia has, I still think, an unproven quarterback. And you go around the SEC, there's nothing scaring you. And by the way, you're not scared of Ohio State in the playoff as much anymore either. Who's their quarterback? You could go a lot. This is definitely an opportunity for Tennessee this year. And this is sort of a chance at a title probably gone.
I don't see it that way. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Again, 2 things here. Tennessee, I think, wants to be, despite Josh Heupel, what he saw with Hendon Hooker and all this high-flying offense, I think being a defense and run-the-ball team has shown to be effective like it was a season ago. And I also think that they saw Nico up front and up close every day at practice. And whether it was just the family. But here's the thing about the family and the agents and all of that. Do you understand the threshold and high bar you have and patience you have to have for this kind of nonsense if the guy's worth it? Like, Josh Heupel's not new. He's dealt with crappy parents before, if they are indeed crappy. He's dealt with over-involved parents. He's dealt with, people coming with their hand out. He was coaching under the old rules. I mean, he's probably seen everything under the sun. So when there weren't no rules and bagmen and stuff like that, he's been around for a long time. I got to put a little trust in the guy. If he says, you know what, just no, not worth it. How many guys have been worth it, that they did supply the bag, that they did bend over backwards? I think he understands who's worth it and who's not. And I don't think this is like a Luka Doncic thing, right, where they said no thank you, but they really let this generational talent out of the building. I don't think they think that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that all sounds great right now. I just wonder, as Herbert Meyer said, if they lose to Florida, it's actually November this year, they're at Florida, I believe, then none of that's going to make any difference to that fan base. They're not even going to remember this. So, yeah, I just think there's no moral or ethical stand. I mean, maybe you're right that he didn't like him as a quarterback, but still, I mean, dude was a heavy five-star quarterback. And obviously you could see even last year, even though he wasn't super productive, 19 touchdowns, 6 picks, great arm. He can move around. It sure seems like he can play some quarterback to me. I mean, I just eyeballing it.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something that he doesn't fit the system the right way. I would be surprised. He goes to UCLA, then you're going from, 3 wins to 6 wins. So, yeah, I think that Nico is being portrayed as the big loser right now. Maybe did lose some money, but Tennessee is – let's revisit this in November, as Urban said. Are we really going to be like, wow, that was such a good move there by you, Josh Heupel. Way to take a stand. But it means nothing to him. What's the difference? His stand will result in nothing except a lower-level quarterback.
Who's going to end up looking like they're in the right here? The Tennessee football program or the player, Nico Iamaleava, who leaves and goes to UCLA? Because honestly, the one thing for the player, if this doesn't put a chip on your shoulder, I don't know what is.
But it's not a matter of in the right. It's who's going to look
better?
Who's going to look bad?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Who's going to look worse? You want to do
college
that
football, the only metric, by the way, is not right, wrong. Wins and losses are the single only thing that matters. That's what get coaches paid.
Oh, I know.
To get them fired. So that's a thing. I feel like there's some moral outrage here. Not from you at all.
No.
You're very realistic. But I do feel like there's no right and wrong. There's just wins and losses. There's zero other metric that makes the slightest difference in college football.
Okay, so don't you think that if Tennessee and Josh Heupel really believed that Nico was the difference between a national championship and missing the college football playoff, they couldn't come up with $2 million? Peyton Manning's wiping his nose with $2 million. Just him alone, and he's just the most famous UT alum off the top of my head. You don't think the collective could come up with $2 million if they really thought this was about a national championship? You
don't think there's a middle ground there that they could have figured out? I think that, first of all, that Nico's advisors are just all over the place.
Yeah,
I think they pulled the plug. I'm not sure Tennessee had much of a choice. When he skips practice, what are you going to do? But yeah, no, I don't think it's that black and white where they're like, well, we're not paying you $4 million, you're out the door. Maybe they had this kid in their program. They could have figured out something. You're telling me it was just $4 million or leave?
I'm telling you what I see from the story. He asked for more. They said no thanks, and now both sides are going their separate ways. So we believe that Nico's going to end up landing at UCLA. But who do you think is going to end up looking worse here? Is this going to be Josh Heupel basically signing his eventual pink slip out of UT, out of Tennessee? Or do you think that Nico's the one we're going to be like, whatever happened to Nico Iamaleava? Is he going to be a guy who plays 6 years of college football and then is a 6th-round draft pick and we just don't see
he could, with the ultimate bad case would be DJU, who transferred around, who had a very proactive dad who had a lot of opinions and it didn't work out. By the way, this also could hurt the SEC. If Tennessee falls out of the top 25, you're going to see all these programs with one less top 25 win. And we know Alabama didn't get into the 12 team. So I think this could weaken the entire SEC, as a matter of fact, which isn't great to start with. I mean, Alabama, this could be the first year they're not a top 10 team in the AP preseason poll in forever.
Yeah. Who's going to end up looking worse here? Tennessee and their head coach, Josh Heupel, or the player, Nico Iamaleava, and his entire camp? 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. It's the Maggie Perloff Show. We've got new intel about our favorite quarterback. We will get that to you next. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
sure you guys don't know too much about UCLA, but our football program, but we're in LA. It's us and USC. We I'm just basically excited, really. That's it.
It's gonna be a good day with Maggie and Perloff.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff Show. Spot the lie for UCLA head coach Deshaun Foster. Technically true. UCLA in LA. Know who else there, Meg? USC.
I forgot how amazing that is.
Spitting facts.
Way to sell the program, coach.
I'm actually into UCLA. I'm wearing a UCLA t-shirt. You can't see this on the radio. I have this t-shirt with a little bear here. They have great color scheme. We can all agree on that.
No doubt. Uniforms are clean.
Facts. They hired this guy to be their offensive coordinator named Tino Sinceri, who was at Indiana and is a first-time offensive coordinator for – actually, I don't know if he's
play caller.
First-time play caller at UCLA. Everything about him seems awesome. They fired Eric Bieniemy, who they hired last year. This is a wild program with no real plan. And then they're bringing in Nico. You have to admit, like, they are you think of Nick Saban's Alabama. This is the opposite. They seem to just pick and choose. Remember, they had Dante Moore was there, this 5-star recruit. UCLA is they never spend any money on the program. They have the worst facilities in the Big Ten, apparently. I'm all in.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
All that setup, and then you're all in. You just said they were the opposite of Nick Saban's Alabama.
Like
That's not good.
They fly by the seat of their pants. No, I'm rooting for them. They're UCLA. They got to be one of the richest schools in the country. And don't they seem like a fly by, what's the expression, fly by the seat of their pants program?
Well, I mean, that clip is so funny of Sean Foster. I forgot. That was at Big Ten Media Days when UCLA joined the Big Ten, which is in itself just hilarious. But this is manna from heaven for them. I mean, they get Nico Iamaleava's fallen into their lap. They're not paying $4 million for him. I don't even know if they're paying $2 million. This isn't even finalized yet. So for them, this is like great, and they'll presumably get a very motivated guy, and maybe a future NFL pro. So this is fantastic for UCLA.
There are critics who think that this is going to implode on them too, because once you bring in bad character.
Is he bad character? Did he get some bad advice and may learn his lesson here? And everyone in the Nico universe learns their lesson.
And also, too, he has to adjust to a new offense without a spring. So that's probably it's not ideal. But again, there just seems, I think it would be so funny content-wise if UCLA exploded. Very, very unlikely. They're not that good a team. Their win total's at about 5. If they exploded and were really successful here, I think it'd be an interesting reversal of this entire offseason where rightfully Nico's been criticized and Tennessee's been praised. Then we're going to flip it on its head in October. If it happens that UCLA plays really well, if Nico finally signs on the dotted line, I mean, you have to admit, the irony of it would be kind of wild.
Yeah, it would be. This is not going to be an easy schedule here for UCLA.
And they're not great.
Their non-conference is tough. Utah, UNLV, New Mexico, and then they do get Penn State at home, but they're on the road, Michigan State.
We're in LA.
On the road, Indiana. I don't know what Indiana's follow-up season is going to be like. And on the road at Ohio State. You avoid Oregon, okay, but you're getting the other big guns. Let's go to the phones. 888-710-4ISN, and you avoid Michigan. 888-710-4476. Who's going to end up looking worse here? Josh Heupel in Tennessee or Nico Iamaleava in his camp? Jay's our pal in Nashville. Jay, what's the word?
Really, as far as everybody here in Tennessee, they just like, hey, let them go. I don't hear nobody saying, oh, this messed up. They should have paid more money to keep him. Nobody's saying that. And the thing about it is, like, first of all, they're saying his dad was behind this. His dad wasn't seeing the forest for the trees, wasn't thinking about the long money in this situation. Could have stayed in the SEC. You know what I mean? He'd have probably got drafted, got a good paycheck, after he got drafted or whatever. But you go to UCLA. Really, I think the best place he could have went was Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin. You know what I mean? And he'd have stayed in the SEC. And Lane Kiffin is basically kind of like a quarterback whisperer himself. He calls a good, innovative offense. UCLA, you don't know who's calling what over there. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's going to be dysfunctional. It's like you go from a functional SEC to a dysfunctional UCLA that basically used to be in the dysfunctional Pac-12. You know what I mean? So it's like you just he's got dysfunctional people behind him giving advice, and he's going to a dysfunctional program.
Yeah.
So it's just dysfunctional.
Two wrongs,
times
you're saying, don't make a right. Like he's got two things stacked up against him. Now, the one thing about Ole Miss, this was like a very small sample, but Austin Simmons at one point came in for Jackson Dart and won the
awesome.
Georgia game, right?
Yeah.
And he was awesome. And then, Dart came back in the game. They won it.
Also, I mean, there is this rule we've been talking about all week that you can't transfer within the SEC and the spring portal. And I know we both said you could probably legally challenge that, but I don't know if you'd have time to work that out. So I don't think he even talked to a single SEC team. There haven't been any rumors of that. So and also, like, the SEC, if Lane did it, then believe me, they would try to enforce that law.
Yeah, everyone kind of, I don't know if they hate Lane, but they're definitely keeping an eye on him. Jay, thanks so much for weighing in from Tennessee. The vibe on the ground is goodbye and good luck to Nico. Couldn't give him more money. How about Tom, who's in Huntsville, Alabama? Tom, who's going to look worse here, Tennessee or Nico, the player?
Well, first, that coach, the only thing he missed in that little segment y'all had was, hey, football, you bet, to sound really intelligent there. I'm a Georgia fan living in Alabama, so
tough.
I'm a strange enema here, not enema, a strange
enigma,
a strange identity, I guess, entity. That's the word I'm looking for.
No, I think you should go with enema.
Yeah, well, a lot of people in this state would say that. You are correct. But I've been a Mark Richt fan for many, many years and hated that he had to retire. But and I love the fact that if there was a bad apple on the team, it didn't matter how good he was gone. And so I praise Josh Heupel for doing exactly what he did and the program. And I'm not a Tennessee fan, being a Georgia fan.
Yeah. I mean, Tom, though, I appreciate the call and the sentiment and everything, but does a Georgia fan really have a leg to stand on here? You guys have had more, driving-related incidents. You've kept more bad guys
That's what
on.
I'm saying.
Yeah, right. I was going to say.
That's what I'm saying. And
but
that's
you're winning now.
Mark
Richt couldn't win.
We were winning. We were winning with Mark Richt too.
Not championships.
We weren't winning. That's true. We weren't winning championships. But I don't like the bad apples on the team. Right. So I'm glad to see him go the moral ground and just say, no, I mean, we're already paying you $2 million. Leave, and
well, Tom, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I know that people love this from Heupel, and again, good luck. As a Georgia fan living in Alabama, we feel for you. Here's the thing, though. This is where you were talking about morals and ethics and everything, Perloff, and this is where college football has none of that. Because if Nico was really good, and if he had a better freshman season or whatever, if they thought that he was the difference between a national title and missing the college football playoff, they'd find the money.
Yeah, you say that. But
I believe that.
Yeah, I think this situation in particular got totally messy. It's interesting. You could definitely be right that Tennessee has control of the situation, but I think this happened and they lost control of the situation. So I think maybe you're giving them too much credit. I totally understand what you're saying, that Heupel is seen Nico in the building for a year, but there are still a lot of Nico fans. I mean, there are a lot of people who think that guy's really talented. He's big. He can throw the ball a mile, and he's fast. I don't know if he runs a lot, but I've seen him run in a straight line really fast. I feel like he's a promising quarterback. And who are they going with now? Just tell me. I don't think they know. So
I just feel like we've been doing this a long time, and we've all been sports fans our entire life. And I don't even know if I can count on one hand how many times the talent didn't win out over everything else. And I'm saying much worse stuff than this, like arrest. Nico's not getting arrested. He's trying to get more money. We're talking about different levels of red flags here. But I've seen way worse where teams will hang on to a guy because he's talented.
Yeah, but then they lose him all the time. You've seen it in the same thing. That talented guy goes somewhere else. They lose players all the time. Every program, they try to hang on, but crazy parents push them elsewhere. I mean, even the Georgias and Alabamas have guys in the building who think they have, then they lose them. I think they lost Nico too. And by the way, I don't think that to make it seem like they planned this whole thing, like, Heupel was not into him. I think they lost control of the situation.
It's possible.
And it's not going to work out.
I just remember one GM always saying that we would, a team would draft Jack the Ripper if he could tackle. And and that's a way more extreme example. Again, your Philadelphia Eagles always find, you guys will take character guys. And this isn't even character. I don't even want to lump Nico in here. This is a negotiation that got off the rails. But I just think that if the talent is there, college and professional, I've just seen it over and over again. People find the money.
Well,
Find a way.
They find them. Yes, I hear you. But explain a Jaden Rashada who was in, I don't even remember how many teams he was, the quarterback who's in all that legal trouble. He was in these programs and he just got out of control and they couldn't work out the money.
Someone promised him $10 million and then couldn't make good on it.
I feel like in the new NIL world, I think there's going to be a lot of situations like this. And you might call it a moral stand. I think you just sort of lost a guy. I mean, listen, we see this before too, where in the NFL, where guys want more money and they stupidly leave a team, and the team didn't want them to leave, but then they go somewhere else and they falter. I don't know. I just think to give Tennessee credit here might be overstated.
We're asking you, who's going to end up looking worse? Is it going to be Josh Heupel in Tennessee, or will it be the player Nico Iamaleava? Jay in Nashville bring up a good point. UCLA, not known to be a great run organization, and if Nico's got turmoil amongst his camp, how does anyone really expect this to go swimmingly? And he hasn't even signed on the dotted line.
But the bar is so low. I mean, what do you have to lose there?
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Andrew Bogusch in the house with all the latest headlines. What's up, dude?
Guys, good morning. Your headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
Come on, man.
If there's one thing the Miami Heat can do these days, it is beat the Bulls in the play-in.
Davion over to Anderson, now feeds Tyler on the move. The baby float is good. His 12th make in 17 tries, Amy. He has 35. Heat in front, 99-82.
Jason Jackson on Heat Radio. Tyler Hero finished with 38, 13 of 19 shooting in Miami's 109-90 rout in Chicago. Head coach Eric Spoelstra.
He's a great competitor, so he knew he was going to have to bring, a lot to this game, and offensively he was there pretty much at every level.
So the Heat eliminate the Bulls in a third straight play-in. Another elimination game for Miami tomorrow night in Atlanta. The Mavs are headed for Memphis after a 120-106 win in Sacramento. Anthony Davis, 27 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 blocks. The Kings, meanwhile, their season's done, and they're reportedly dumping GM Monty McNair. 3 straight 40-win seasons under him, but a sub-500 winning percentage altogether in his 5 seasons.
Can I ask if you guys have a second on the other side of the glass, because I can't do this while also listening to Bogusch. EJ's busy. He's on the phone. Manny, maybe you can tackle this one.
Just do like me and ignore Bogusch. Yeah. But go ahead.
Okay.
Dang it. I got more work now.
I'd love to know, just in the last 10 years, how many GMs and coaches the Sacramento Kings have had. The total.
So this guy's been there for 5 years. So
okay,
there's
let's go 15
a
years.
little bit of continuity lately, but the head coaching thing has definitely changed.
I mean, I feel like this is like a trivia question. Just
wait, I don't know. Actually, I'm totally ignorant here. So the Kings have been rummaging through GMs?
No, not recently. This guy's been in charge for the last 5 years.
Who was before him? Vlade, right?
I think so.
Pretty sure it was Vlade.
It was Vlade. Okay, so how about just head coaches in the last decade?
Million? It's like infinite number. I mean, this is it's been the issue
2
with
this season.
Vivek.
Yeah,
Vivek. I mean, he's got there, and it seems like, we talk about firing Mike Malone and how crazy that was. He was the original firing Mike Malone in a weird time in the season, right? He fired him second year, 10 games in when they were playing pretty good. That situation, I don't feel confident in while he's owning. And it sucks because it feels like they've had moments where it looks like they're turning the corner. Like the beam was a big deal a couple years ago in the playoffs. And now, that performance last night was just atrocious.
I'm counting 7 head coaches over the last 10 seasons.
It's a lot.
Only 2 GMs. Interesting.
And apparently part of this problem now is that this guy maybe doesn't want to keep Doug Christie or make Doug Christie the full-time guy, and Vivek does.
Oh, awesome. That's going to go great.
I mean,
who's going to win out on that one?
Right.
Yeah, but Doug Christie was a Vivek guy. This was purely him wanting a guy who played for the team in the past, a legacy guy who worked on television.
Yeah. Doug was their TV analyst.
Yeah, he was a halftime analyst. So, like, this is not a Monty McNair thing. Monty McNair is like a analytics guy. He comes from the Houston Rockets.
Did you guys know some guy named Michael Malone was the head coach of the Sacramento Kings about 11, 12 years ago?
He, Boogie Cousins, together?
Or as Maggie knows him, Mark.
It's Mark Malone. Sorry, Coach.
To baseball.
Next head coach of the Knicks.
And a fairly impressive first inning from the Dodgers.
Rockies' last lead, April 10th against the Brewers. They would win that game 7-2. Ohtani hammers one deep right field, way up toward the pavilion, and near the roof, it's gone. Shohei Ohtani with a blast. And the show starts early tonight for the Dodgers.
That's Tim Neverett on Dodgers Radio. Ohtani came back up again in the first inning, capping off a 7-run explosion with an RBI single. But LA only won 8-7 over the struggling Rockies. The Rangers pushed their home win streak to 7, 3-1 over the Angels. O'Neal Cruz, his first career grand slam, and the Pirates' 6-1 decision over the Nats. And the Red Sox got a 1-0 win in Tampa. 4 Boston relievers K-ing 9 over 4 1/3. Here's a scary story from the NFL. Aaron Donald now has a restraining order against a woman that's allegedly been stalking him since 2020. It began with emails, then gifts, but grew to threatening Donald's children. This woman apparently also thinks they're married, going as far as filing for divorce recently. Their next court hearing is May 7th.
Wait, you can file papers that don't exist?
That's apparently how he found out about that through the court being like, hey, this woman who's not your wife is trying to divorce you.
Ugh.
I was thinking about this. It's obviously really scary, and this person clearly has some mental health issues. She thinks she's married to Aaron Donald. But when I saw 2020, this is going on for 4.5 years of their life.
I know.
That's insanely scary. Yeah.
And when people can easily now find out where you live and how to contact you. I mean,
she said you started emailing him. I'm like, you found Aaron Donald's email address.
That's really disturbing.
Yeah. And obviously, where you live, your address, all of that stuff.
I mean, I was even wondering, too, if there was a time where Aaron Donald had to convince the actual Mrs. Donald that this woman was 100% out of her mind.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Did this begin with him having to be like, no. I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
This lady's just off her rocker coming after me.
Totally. I mean, that depends on what's the relationship like to begin with.
Right.
If there's a lot of trust there, then the wife will trust him. If there's no trust there, then she's going to be skeptical. But obviously, this is a beyond extreme example.
And this is also the aspect too of, it's professional athlete lives, right? So even if they've had a fine relationship, it could blow up at any moment.
That's true.
Given what we know the history is. So I'm sure that was a tough conversation, that just trying to say, hey, I don't know anything about this. This is crazy.
Yeah. That's it. That's all.
I mean, I can give you a hockey score if you want.
Yeah, Canadiens.
They won 4-2 over the Hurricanes. So that's all the playoff spots and they're now settled.
So is this 5 Canadian teams or 6 that get in?
Couldn't tell you.
Calgary's not in, right?
Calgary's not in.
Okay, so that means 5. So 5 Canadian teams. So you got a lot of bites at the apple here, Canada, to try to break this Stanley Cup drought this time around. Finally.
So I've been doing some background work here. I'm trying to keep track. I'm the only one here who cares about our home run. Maggie and Perloff show home run derby.
Oh, I do.
No, I do.
You got Shough?
I just tallied up my total.
Okay, I got a Bryce Harper digging her last night in a terrible loss. The Phillies stink now, so I'm going to just engage with this MLB home run derby.
Still April. Yeah, so what we did, if you're just joining, is all of us on the show got to pick 3 different sluggers as our little fantasy teams, and it's just whoever's 3-team little trio has hit the most home runs at the end of the year wins, and whoever is the least loses. Yeah. And Manny got to go first because we did youngest to oldest. And do you have your total?
I'll keep it a buck. I don't even remember who my 3 guys are.
I'm in the same boat with Manny. The Braves are. What happened to the Braves?
Well, they'll be fine.
They're 5. This is the worst start they've had in 100 years. They're 5-13 and they can't hit home runs. And me and Manny are stuck with their 2 biggest sluggers, Matt Olson and Marcell Ozuna.
You have Matt Olson and you have Mike Trout. I don't remember your third person.
Well,
we go back to the tape.
Dang it!
Rough tape.
I know I'm at 17 home runs.
Dang.
Because I had Tatis who has 6, Judge who has 7, and then Brent Rooker, who's actually not playing well but does have 4. So.
I have 10. Shohei's got 6. Vlad finally hit one last night. Guerrero, I was hoping on a big contract year, and then he signs a $500 million contract 2 weeks into the season, and I have 3 from Ellie De La Cruz. So 10.
I have no idea who's on my team. I thought I had Shohei, so there you go.
You do not have Shohei.
I know. I don't know who I have then. I thought I benefited from getting. I got Shohei because Manny took Matt Olson. So
No.
You have Soto.
Is that who I have?
Yeah, because we did this.
You got 3.
Youngest to oldest, so.
Yeah, I also can't. This applies to every baseball take right now. There's like 160 days left in the season.
Yeah,
I can't count anything. I also can't. I'm not sure I can handle you
Except the Braves
stressing
are out.
over this
That's
every
all I
single
got.
day.
Braves
all
are
I
out,
got.
Phillies are out.
No. This is why, because Perloff's going to stress and say something about the Phillies and da-da-da, and then he's going to midway go, no one even cares about the Phillies in Philadelphia. It doesn't matter
Well,
anyway.
that-
It's all about the
runs.
Eagles.
That is actually 1,000% true.
I know. I've been
But,
sitting next to you for a long
that's
time.
not. You make it sound like that's something Perloff is saying. That is a fact as secure as the fact the Declaration of Independence was signed there. All that matters in Phillies football. But I got 13, by the way. I think I could be in second place.
Yeah, you are in second place.
Yeah. Oh, you tallied everybody. I thought you just did you.
Well, Bogusch and Manny don't know their teams.
Nope.
So I'm
If they
assuming their
don't
teams
know,
stink.
yeah, they don't know, then they know they're not doing anything.
No, it's because I just don't remember from the day we picked it. I'm not tracking it. I might have 20. I have no idea, but I don't remember who I
Going
took.
to be honest, Bogusch, you've been giving Manny a lot of grief for that particular day, and the fact that you don't remember your own team.
But I didn't pick Matt Olson first overall. Those are not the same thing.
You don't even know who you picked first of all. You thought you picked
But
Shohei, and I
picked-
did.
Yeah, who would have been a valid pick? This is not Manny. This is not apples to apples in any way.
I mean,
No.
you don't remember
You
your
wish
team.
you were me, dog.
Yeah, I forgot my team. I didn't pick like Brett Butler to hit home runs.
You don't know. You could have picked anybody.
No.
Did
I'm
you pick,
confident I picked real people.
Did you pick MLB home run leader Tyler Soderstrom?
I didn't, but I have a vague memory of me and you like trading Alonso and Bryce Harper at some point.
Yeah. Who is Tyler Soderstrom, by
He
the way?
plays for the A's.
He has 8 career home runs
Yeah.
coming into the season.
We did
He's
this
leading the
yesterday.
baseball. Yeah,
They're
wow.
playing in a minor league ballpark. but-
Is that a small part? I haven't actually followed much about Sacramento. Been too focused on
It is
the
weird.
basketball team.
It is weird to watch games on TV.
Yeah.
Played there. It looks like spring training. That's gonna
Definitely.
be tough to get over. You could hear. I mean, the Mets played there a couple weeks over the
Yeah.
weekend. You could hear everything. Fan yelling, people yelling, hot dog. I was like, what? This is bizarre.
I mean, to be fair, is it any different than a Miami Marlins game?
Is it any different from the Rays right now being at
Is
George
that better?
Steinbrenner Field?
Well, the worst part about the minor league stadium for the Mets over the weekend was one of the Mets players got hurt, like really badly, broke his leg. And so they had to bring a cart out to try to get him off the field, and that cart ran out of gas.
Wait, what was the car?
Down in Music City, there's a man named Jay. He's tuned in to Maggie and Perloff every single day. Life's been a battle, he's been losing for years, but now his motto's clear. No more losing tears. He's been down, he's been low, but now he's ready for a brand new show. Jay's got questions, can't let it slide. Who's running to YouTube on the infinity side? Jay in Nashville calling out the crew. Who's behind the curtain? He demands the truth. Peter Bummelotti's ghosting, no work in sight, but Jay's got the Maggie and Perloff show to make it right. Make it right. Been a loser so long, my losing's all gone. Tapped out my bad luck, it's time to move on. From his couch in Nashville, he's solving the case. Infinity's mystery, he's all over the place. He's got theories, he's got plans. Is it Moose or Perloff behind the cams? And Bellotti, forget it, he's MIA. Jay's the one who's showing up today. Jay in Nashville calling out the crew. Who's behind the curtain? He demands the truth. Peter Bummelotti's ghosting, no work in sight, but Jay's got the Maggie and Perloff show to make it right. Make it right. Jay's turning his luck, rising up the ranks. Infinity answers, he's storming the banks. Bellotti might miss it, but Jay's always there with a sharp-eye question and a comfy chair. Jay in Nashville calling out the crew. Who's behind the curtain? He demands the truth. Peter Bummelotti's ghosting, no work working sight, but Jay's got the Maggie and Perloff show to make it right. Jay in Nashville, he's taking the stage. From loser to legend, he's turning the page. Infinity's mystery, Belotti's no show. Jay's the real MVP of the Maggie and Perloff show. Make it right.
2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, reacting to what was kind of a back and forth night, if you were following the news closely, about whether or not Nico Iamaleava, the former Tennessee quarterback, is going to sign with UCLA. It looks like it's trending that direction, but the deal's not done yet. And considering what's been going on with Nico the last couple weeks, you really can't say it's done until it's done, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Although, I mean, it kind of seems like UCLA or bust. Does he have any other options? There was a report. Did you see the report that no schools were going to offer him? That came out on ESPN. Somebody told Pete Thamel that 0 Power 4 schools are going to offer him anything.
Like as a collusion kind of thing? Like all banding together to
or that they just
blackball him?
don't think he's worth bringing in that kind of drama. I'll get the quote. But generally, I mean, I think it seems like UCLA are bust. I can't imagine another major conference program. And as we pointed out yesterday, there aren't a lot of holes. Most teams have a starting quarterback. It's April.
Well, especially if you're looking for this kind of money. 888-710-4ISN, we're asking you, who's going to end up looking worse here? Is it Josh Heupel in Tennessee for pushing Nico out or just saying no thank you? Or is it the player and maybe his camp? Urban Meyer came out yesterday and said this is going to backfire on Tennessee big time. Joe's in Ohio. Joe, what do you think?
Actually, guys, I have followed UCLA since I was a kid, and I'm from Columbus, so I'm from Buckeye Land. Here's my thing with that. I go way back to the Terry Donahue days and even before that, Dick Vermeil.
Sure.
Okay, my thing is this. When they had Chip Kelly 3 years ago, Bruin Nation was all jacked up and excited, and I kept telling my...
Listen, that was one of the more stunning results from the college football playoff, 40-17. I mean, obviously, Oregon losing was also crazy, but Ohio State beating Tennessee 42-17 when Vols fans took over that stadium.
Yeah.
And it looked like Ohio State was dead in the water after the loss to Michigan. And this is what kickstarted their run to a national championship. Here's the thing about Chip Kelly at UCLA, Pearl. Joe's totally right. Finishes with a 35-34 record. Just for context, Chip Kelly's record at Oregon was 46-7. But I ask you this. Was it more about, is it because UCLA doesn't have a lot of money? Which is a crazy thing to say because they are one of the prestigious college programs. Like, they have such great name recognition and history and legacy. Joe's talking about Dick Vermeil. They just don't have the money. Their athletic department was in real dire straits.
Well, I mean, you say it's a dire straits. They don't prioritize sports there. I think I told you the story. Jim Mora was the coach at UCLA, and he came on Dan Patrick's show and complained. He's like, we will not spend anything on like the locker room, none of that. We can't compete with the big boys. And that's been forever. I mean, when's UCLA? I was thinking about this yesterday. I know Troy went there, but Troy Aikman, when's the last time they were a real threat to win the national title? Has it ever happened? What's the highest they've ever finished in the AP poll?
Well, the highest is, hold on one second. I know Chip Kelly, the highest he ever got in the AP poll was 9th. So at one point he got to 9th in the 2022 season, but they ended up 21st.
Come on, Daddy.
Playing in the Sun Bowl.
I mean, they're obviously a competitor in college side, but why not football? It's a great question.
Yeah, just a quick search here. It seems like since 2000, the highest they finished a season in a post-AP poll was 10 in 2014. Most years they went unranked.
Yeah, have that team, wasn't there a Heisman trophy? I mean, it's amazing. They've never really been a contender. By the way, the quote that I was talking about, this is a story on ESPN to Pete Thamel and Max Olson, two leading college football writers. I think he has zero market about Nico, said a general manager at a Power 4 school. It'll be an interesting test of how smart and disciplined colleges are in looking at him. So doesn't that feels like there's more going on. It's like Nico's become a poster child for the player that wants more money. A little bit. It's a Power 4 general manager.
It's such a weird disconnect there. Sorry to interrupt, but it's like either he's not good enough that no Power 4 will offer him, or he's that 5-star recruit coming out of high school, sky's the limit.
Well, it's also funny, too. We're so used, like I said, college general manager, nobody batted an eye, so that's already become mainstream.
Yeah, of course.
He may or may not be playing in the NFL. I mean, the general manager thing, it happens so fast. It's pro football, right?
Definitely.
So why are we treating this like pro football? There was a guy who wanted out of a team in free agency.
We are.
Yeah, but it seems like there's still some people holding on to the old model. Would be like, he owes it to Tennessee.
Well, I think that we're still getting used to the dollar amounts, I think. When somebody is looking at a college kid and saying, you want $4 million? $4 million? That's like...
He was already making 2.4. That's a $1.6 million raise in the world of pro sports. That's nothing.
So I think that if Tennessee really wanted him, they would have found the money.
Could be right. Yeah.
I think they saw something and said bye-bye. Okay, 888-710-4ISN. Who's going to end up looking worse, Tennessee or Nico? We get to Aaron Rodgers' latest update next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, it's getting real here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The fact that we are getting into mid to late April, Pearl, and they have no idea who their starting quarterback is going to be. Welcome to the show, by the way. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We got some new information here from some of the insiders on what the heck is going on in Pittsburgh. So according to Aditi Kinkhabwala of CBS Sports, you guys see her on the sidelines all the time. She's been covering the league for a long time, and specifically the AFC North. She reported Wednesday that Rodgers is more likely to retire than sign with a team he doesn't see as a threat to take home the Lombardi Trophy. Quote, "It's extremely clear Rodgers is not going to play just for the sake of playing." The question about this is, does he consider the Pittsburgh Steelers a Super Bowl contending team? Meanwhile, Josina Anderson reporting that a league source on the Steelers, quote, "The vibe, I would say it feels a little weird here. The running joke around here now is who's going to be our quarterback. I wouldn't say there's any panic, but the current quarterback depth chart says what it says." Yeah, that's Mason Rudolph at the top of it and nothing behind. So, when I went away on vacation last week, that Pat McAfee night out thing
April 9th.
happened, and we all thought that was going to be Rodgers kind of doing this like WWE style, like heroes kind of welcome, come in wearing the Pittsburgh Steelers jersey. Well, Big night. Oh, yeah. Yins. It didn't happen. Mercury's out of retrograde now, so he's free to sign. They say you shouldn't sign contracts, Mercury in retrograde. What's the holdup here?
My dog.
Sorry, that's like an astrology thing. The holdup, I think, is, Rodgers wants to wait till after the draft now because I don't think the Steelers...
to see if they draft a quarterback.
Exactly, but here's the question. Is that really going to change anything? So say they do draft a quarterback. So what? You're in this for what, a year, two, the most? Like, you have to know you're 41 years old. You're not exactly in a position of strength here. The Minnesota Vikings just said no thank you. So, what does it matter if they draft a quarterback or not? Like, you're most likely going to be mentoring a young guy. That you have to think you'd signing up for that, no?
Maybe he just doesn't want to go to practice. I'm actually being half serious. This is Aaron Rodgers. He does not like spring practices. We have a long history of that.
He went to every Jets OTA thing.
Oh, I seem to remember a little trip to Egypt.
Well, but he went to all the other ones.
He went to all of them except the one that caused a huge national controversy.
The irony is he went to all the voluntary ones and then skipped the involuntary one.
Brett Favre signed in August, so maybe he's going to pull a Favre because he does seem intent on following every step of that man's career. Or maybe he's waiting, and actually, the Favre connection, maybe he's waiting for Minnesota because now there's rumors that Minnesota would be interested in Derek Carr, who was injured in New Orleans. So maybe Minnesota is still floating around there. Because remember I'll just say all the reports said for now. Remember the for now? Minnesota does not want Aaron Rodgers, quote unquote, for now. Maybe he's waiting for that. But that would fit with Aditi's report that he wants to play for a contender. Or maybe he's, I don't know, wants to see if Pittsburgh's building a contender around him. That's why that report to me doesn't really say much because, as you exactly said, tell me, is Pittsburgh a contender in his eyes?
Well, I'm going to be honest. Does anyone, when push comes to shove, do you think the Vikings are winning the Super Bowl?
No. Well, yeah.
Exactly.
Well, no. I mean, I'm saying that roster is pretty.
Oh, I get it.
Pretty good.
But
and they kept Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator. Yeah, and I love Kevin O'Connell. I think with Rodgers, they're in the mix for sure.
I mean, you've had basically the Steelers and the Vikings kind of get to the same point all the time, which is making it to the playoffs and then losing in the first round. So I don't see how different they are. Justin Jefferson is different. That's cool.
The Vikings won 14 games last year.
Yeah, and what happened?
Their O-line got a little. Yeah, but I think the Vikings are a step up. They're indoors, too. The man's old. He doesn't want to be out in the cold of Pittsburgh.
Okay. Well, listen, maybe that's part of it. But why even go down the line that far? If you really don't want to play in Pittsburgh, if you don't want to play in the cold, you don't want to play in the AFC North, we don't think that they're a Super Bowl contender, why ask for the meeting? Why ask for, the tour of the facility? Why spend 6 hours with them? Is it to try to get Minnesota back interested? I don't know. But here's my thing. I'm looking at this more from the Steelers aspect. You have this combined with the TJ Watt peace sign post that he put up that was very cryptic. What is going on with this franchise? Because, again, maybe they somehow, they draft a quarterback and everyone gets positive about it. But to be honest, nobody thinks this is a great quarterback draft. So even if you do get Shedeur, polarizing quarterback in this draft, if you do get Jackson Dart, polarizing quarterback in this draft, you're not getting Cam Ward. And even he's got his warts. So I guess I'm just finding how are the Steelers going to save themselves here from the quarterback perspective?
Right.
Is it Kirk Cousins? And if so, are you excited about that?
Well, I mean, this is a team that had Russell Wilson and Justin Fields at about $1 million each in the building last year. So they haven't had a big picture plan. But as we sit here in April, I think you just laid out the options. So what are you supposed to do? I mean, where are you going to get this magical quarterback, Maggie, if you win 9 games every year? Explain to me who this person was.
No, I get it. But, at some point, because you're not going to win 2 games and be at the top of the draft. That's just not who it is.
And that's why you're not going to get a franchise quarterback.
Well, not all franchise quarterbacks are taking 1, 2, or 3.
Well,
we know that.
I would say the odds are extremely higher in the top 10.
Well, Kansas City had to trade up to get Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I know that's an extreme example, but you do have to do that sometimes.
Well, I mean, listen, to get from 21 to 10 where Mahomes went, it would cost you a fortune. Okay. And maybe they should. You're right. Maybe they should do that. You need some conviction.
So
is Mahomes in this draft? I mean, that was also, remember, Mahomes was a bit of a crapshoot. Had a losing record at Texas Tech. So it's easier said than done. You're like, well, just trade up to 10 and get your next Patrick Mahomes. 9 teams passed on Patrick Mahomes. Not everyone knew that.
I get it. And 31 teams passed on Lamar Jackson. I know that. But here's my thing. This is not a new problem for the Steelers. I know they thought Kenny Pickett was going to be the guy. And if you did, they threw him out so fast, and maybe partially he wanted out. I don't know.
They missed.
This is what I think. I think they are so Aaron Rodgers or bust right now. That's why I find this so weird. Is it the Rodgers money? Is it Rodgers? You need this guy. And I know that's probably not going to be a popular opinion in Pittsburgh amongst some fans. You're royally screwed if you don't have him. Because here's the thing. You're at 21. And you know what happens with quarterbacks in the draft? Sometimes they end up getting pushed up and up and up. So are you actually selling the farm or trading major assets for Shedeur Sanders, for Jackson Dart?
Well, you're not going to have to. You might have to trade up for Shedeur. You probably won't have to trade up for Jackson Dart. And if he goes higher than 21, then you probably don't want him. But by the way, I don't see it that way because Rodgers is almost like a luxury item there. I mean, he's got 1 year and he's injury prone, 2 years off an Achilles tear. If you lose out on this guy, I don't feel like they're like, wow, we just missed an opportunity to win the Super Bowl.
Then who's playing quarterback, though?
Well, that's the thing. Like, just get some other old broken guy. Get Kirk Cousins, as you mentioned.
I don't love that.
Yeah, maybe did we mention Derek Carr wants out? The money's complicated.
Gosh,
Derek Carr that'd be a nice little consolation prize. They had Russell Wilson and Justin Fields last year.
Okay, but here's the thing. Derek Carr may have a season-ending shoulder injury. This is the fishiest, as Diana Rossini said, this is a fishy situation with Derek Carr. I don't want a fishy situation.
Wait, I mean, okay. What's actually better long-term, to have Aaron Rodgers, and I know how EJ feels about this, to have Aaron Rodgers in this building for 1 year, or to just rip the Band-Aid and go with Mason Rudolph and start over and press the reset button?
Well, I mean, what's the trickle-down effect here? Is this saying TJ Watt? Like, is this impacting him somehow?
TJ Watt ain't young. I don't know. They'll probably re-sign him anyway. I mean, listen, the Browns re-signed Myles Garrett. TJ Watt's 30. Re-sign TJ Watt. He'll be there when you get your quarterback.
So I think sometimes, and I know this is probably the smart way to think, Pearl, but I also think, you saw the process in Philadelphia up close, and you think that, all right, just tank the season, just throw it away. Like, there are certain teams that that's not their MO, for better, for worse.
And the Steelers are the face of that team. They just cannot get out of limbo.
Right.
They thought they took a shot with Kenny Pickett. There was nothing wrong with that. They'll probably take a shot at 21 or in the second round this year. Not bad. I mean, listen, if they draft Shador too, you've said it all along, that's a narrative changer, and no one's even going to remember Aaron Rodgers. Then you got Dion in the building, and it'd be like, Aaron who?
Yeah.
If Aaron Rodgers doesn't sign there.
Well, I think Shador does that to me for everybody, right? Like, he's I don't say palate cleanser. He's a he's such a force because of his famous dad and him that it's the Giants draft him, all of a sudden this is a total game changer. Browns, all of a sudden, this total game changer.
Yep.
Steelers, whether it's the New Orleans Saints, who could really use some different blood.
Yeah, I mean, we disagree, but I don't think anyone's going to pay attention to the Saints. Those other teams, yes. The Saints still are going to be a lot of 1 p.m. against Atlanta on the Fox D team. But I like that term, palate cleanser. It's perfect. He gets rid of the old narrative and brings in a new one. And maybe, you know what? Maybe Pittsburgh's listening right now, and they said, you know what? You're right. This Rodgers thing, I'm tired of waiting. I'm going to bring in Shador, and that's all anyone will talk about. And they're not going to remember that we've struck out on Kenny Pickett.
Okay, well, then I would probably start calling some GMs around the league, because I think you're going to have to jump the New Orleans Saints if you are intent on getting Shador Sanders. I do. And maybe I'd get oopsie-dooped on that, and maybe that's why I'm not an NFL GM, but I would really seriously be on the horn with the Carolina Panthers right now. Or EJ's Jets.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a big move.
Listen.
That's a big move. You have a lot of holes.
Do you want a quarterback or do you not?
I don't know. Just get the next guy. Get Jackson Dart at 21.
Do you really think Rodgers is going to retire?
I didn't. Adidi's report didn't really seem like a report. It sounded more like an opinion to me, and I do not think so. I think even if he decides to retire in April, he'll come out of it at a certain point. I do not sense that guy's anywhere close.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think everyone gets one fake retirement.
Yeah.
Everyone gets to change their mind one time. I don't think we kill guys for that.
Today's NFL, you really get two, man. I mean, Favre had two. I think Brady
had one. One fake retirement.
Fake.
You get at least one if you played for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah,
Favre had two, right?
Yeah, but Favre kind of wore out. Like, that kind of ended up backfiring on him a little bit because people got a little sick of it. I think you can do one fake retirement without people getting sick of you.
Well, I don't know. He almost won the MVP in Minnesota. I don't think anyone was sick of that.
Packer fan.
Again, he came back August 7th was when he signed with the Jets. There's tons of time for Aaron Rodgers. And by the way, Brady didn't enter until the end of March with Tampa Bay. He didn't sign on the opening day of free agency. There's nothing's happening. Rodgers, and we're over anxious as an NFL media. Back in the day, like, it was April, nobody would be concerned. There's no real snaps going on right now.
Disagree if I'm a Steeler fan. Strong disagree. 888-710-4ISN. Easy for you to say from the high perch of Philadelphia Eagles just won the Super Bowl.
It's April 17th.
They've got,
what's the difference?
They've got Mason Rudolph on the roster, and that's it.
Yeah,
we do not care.
Honestly, I bet you a lot of Steelers fans don't want Rodgers. They're like, why are we bringing in this broken old guy? I'd rather just try something completely different.
Right. So you're now going to be drafting again a quarterback in a draft class that's kind of like a meh quarterback draft class.
But I'll bet you if we put a poll up and if we were in Pittsburgh, we should ask our friend Andrew Fillipponi to would you rather draft a quarterback at 21, whoever's available, or sign Aaron Rodgers? I'll bet you it's 50-50. I mean, how do you think that fan base feels?
We're going to find out. Andrew Fillipponi is going to join us in the 9 a.m. hour from Pittsburgh, get the pulse of the fan there. EJ, what do you think? Rodgers retiring? No.
I've always put that on the table because I think that Jet thing ended so poorly. And I think for him, he thought, you know what? I went to an organization that wasn't ready to win, that I had to do too much to get over the hump. And then once I got hurt, like I couldn't overcome all these issues Jet organization had. He got there, he kept complaining about leaks, complaining about all the stuff that was going on, saying they weren't ready to win.
Yeah.
I think now he's being a lot more careful with, if I'm going to commit to something, like I'm not going to be embarrassed again. Like, I'm not going to go out there and say we're going to win a Super Bowl, we're going to do this and that, and then I get to a building and I realize this just ain't it. And I think he's looking at the Steelers. He respects Mike Tomlin, but I think he's looking at them very closely, being like, is this really a championship team? Because, again, I still got to go up against Joe Burrow. I still got to go up against Lamar Jackson. And, of course, the AFC is still a beast.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you walk in and the Steelers, all right, let's just bring their win total up 5 games. Like, it's still going to be tough for them, even with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, you're assuming way too much rational thought out of Aaron Rodgers, DJ. I mean, Rodgers, it seems impulsive, though, to argue against that. I think that he's more emotion-driven, too. I don't. You could be right, but I wonder if Rodgers logically is going to say everything that EJ said. Part of Rodgers' brain is like yes, 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 but then there's another part of Rodgers' brain that
like I'm the man.
Just seems to function a little bit off emotions.
Don't be a freaking weirdo.
He could find a connection with Tomlin that kind of overrides the logic. I mean, logically, you're absolutely right, but I don't know if that's the ultimate winner in this.
Well, the other
argument.
part too is 2 things here. One, the Jets' experience may have been a bit of a humbling one. He talks about ego deaths all the time. He thought he was going to be Mr. Big Swing 4-time MVP, was going to come in and change the franchise, and then that didn't happen, and they threw him out, which is humbling. But to be fair, even though I don't think the Steelers have the same mystique that they've enjoyed, the lore of the Steelers, I think we've kind of fallen off of that. They're kind of just a lot more like everyone else. They're not the Jets.
Yeah.
It's not the embarrassing headlines of, the owner's son is deciding about trades on a Madden rating. Yeah, like all that distracting stuff. And Rodgers brings his own distractions, but it's still a tighter. It's a much tighter ship than the Jets.
I totally disagree on the humbling thing. I don't think Aaron Rodgers was humbled. And I'm going to
just blame the Jets.
No, I just think Aaron Rodgers is one of those people who is not easily humbled. I think, yes, on the outside he's humble, but I think that he still thinks I'm the man. And I think EJ was kind of right. I think he looks at the Jets as the problem, not him in New York, probably. And, I just don't think that you're going to see a much different Rodgers. I mean, has Aaron Rodgers ever really changed for us? Not really.
I don't know. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. He's kind of an inconsistent guy, to be honest, with the message.
It feels like there's a different Aaron Rodgers post I am immunized.
Oh, definitely.
But he changed then.
But he talks about like ego deaths and having to, and having to face a lot of things. But then he also...
But do his actions...
He's very thin-skinned and he's very...
Yeah, do his actions show that? Not necessarily... Yeah, I mean, that's a great... I mean, we're really like trying to dive into the brain of Aaron Rodgers. It's tough.
Caterpillar becomes a butterfly, people.
I also think he looks at the Steelers, and I think there's something that's not appealing for them being so much kind of like... The Jets were kind of a blank slate in many ways. Now, maybe they weren't in hindsight, but I think he thought, oh, look, like, I can go in there and I can kind of really like put my imprint on them.
The roster they thought was a sleeping giant because of the defense.
I think he looks at the Steelers. I think part of the reason why he's not excited about the Steelers too, because it's like very much like a straight laced, clean cut. Like you come in the building, you do this, you do that, and then that's it. Like there is no like he's a free spirit. Like whatever you think of Aaron Rodgers, right?
Right.
I wonder if he looks at the Steelers locker room and kind of how they work and be like, can my like free flowing kind of environment, like what I bring to the table, does it fit with this?
Right.
He was there for 6 hours. And he's left them on red for 3 weeks, whether or not he wants to play there or not. Like that sounds weird to me. That doesn't sound like a guy that went there and was really excited and gung ho about wanting to sign up. Like I wonder if like hearing Cam Hayward and then Pelissero saying that Watt feels the same way, that like they're like, yo, you want to be a Steeler or not? And he's like,
we're not recruiting you. We're not selling
like, He's like, maybe this isn't me. Maybe this isn't. Maybe they're a little too intense over there.
Don't be a freaking weirdo. I don't even know what that drop is from, but I love it.
Don't be a freaking weirdo.
Oh, man. 888-710-4ISN. That drop could be from anything. 888-710-4476. What should the Steelers do?
Yeah.
Rodgers or a draft pick?
We're trying to predict the mind of Aaron Rodgers. I was just saying we might as well try and predict the weather in 6 months. We have no I think
to be fair, he's been quiet this offseason. It's not been a lot of podcasts. I don't see a lot of politics.
But I like that report from Aditi, but I wonder, like, do we really know what's going on in that ayahuasca-filled brain of his? I think he's quite unpredictable. And you know what? You're right. I mean, he definitely could retire, but still, predicting him is a dangerous game. It always has been with Rodgers.
That is true. Okay, so what do you think about Rodgers for the Steelers? Is Rodgers the best option? Is drafting a quarterback the best option? Maybe you've got, what's behind door number 3. If you own it, 888-710-4ISN. Coming up, the one quarterback that is flying up draft boards. Someone's getting a lot of push here it'll be a week from today, before the draft next week in Green Bay. We'll tell you who the unlikely person is next. It's M&P.
Big shout out to all the women backing up the fellas.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam, just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. We were just doing a very dangerous thing here on the Maggie and Perloff show, trying to get inside the mind of Aaron Rodgers. There was a lot of plant-based medicine in there.
We're going to need a lot more.
Some conspiracy theories floating around.
Oh, I've had a story yesterday I saw that I was like, Aaron Rodgers would love this story. Did you see the... I
know exactly where you're going. That the space thing was a fake?
Oh, no. What was that?
Oh, the women who went up in there was really in a television studio? Oh, I thought that's what you're talking about.
Oh, the Katy Perry, Gayle King, all the women who went up to
anywhere.
They did it?
I saw that conspiracy theory, Pearl.
I don't know why the rocket had to look so phallic.
I thought that, was that a Photoshop or was that really the rocket?
It looked like Austin Powers. Remember?
Yes.
And the really genitalia shaped thing is going over the sky, and they're like, Johnson, Peter, Wang,
You're kidding me. That's actually the real rocket? I thought that was like a joke on Photoshop.
Adult toy shaped feet.
Wait, I thought that was the rocket.
I think you're right. I have no idea. But anyway, you got a better one than that?
Well, no. But I didn't know they thought it was fake.
Yeah.
I mean, it is fake. It's like you don't really go to space. You just like cross some imaginary border in the sky and you come right back down.
Right.
It's never been real.
Yeah. Who was the guy who like broke the sound barrier and did that?
The guy for Red Bull that just jumped off from the edge of Earth
in a parachute.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy really earned his money that day. I think what's funny about that. So it's like Bezos' wife, right? And she was married to Tony Gonzalez at one point. The tight end, obviously.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I don't know if they were married, but they were definitely together for a long time.
Man, I would not like to follow up Tony Gonzalez. That is one good-looking man.
You
can't be rich enough to follow that up.
You gotta be the richest guy in the world.
No wonder he's just still so greedy. Yeah.
It's funny. I don't think what happened there, what they thought was going to happen, which I think they believed it was going to be like this really amazing girl power moment.
Yeah.
Like, look at all these women. And instead, it was like, look at these skin tight space suits that we are. And it was like, is this like feminism when you kind of look like sexy space cadets?
Yeah. This is a Star Trek fantasy from 30 years ago.
From Jeff Bezos' mind.
This was the first Austin Powers reference that I heard, was that he should be in the middle of this group photo because it looks like they're like 70s porn star, like getting off the ship with Astro.
Baby.
Yeah, exactly.
He's there. He was there.
Austin Powers?
No,
in
Bezos.
Space?
Just what was it? Mike Mike Myers with like the fake teeth.
But just so one of the reasons is there was some confusion about he pretended to open the door with a special tool, but there was video on the live stream. They had opened it from the inside. It only opens from the inside 4 minutes earlier.
Oh, well, that's enough for Rodgers to call this a blatant conspiracy.
Yeah, and also too, I mean, there's two original conspiracies. One, the JFK, and the other was the moon landing was fake. That's, I mean, obviously.
Those are the GOAT. The Mount Rushmores. We'll get into the other one.
But it sounds like you're sitting on another gem here.
Well, no, I thought Rodgers would like this. I mean, I don't think you can debunk it yet, but I'm sure he could do his own research that they feel like they've found the strongest indication yet of extraterrestrial life. You guys didn't see this one?
On a different place.
Yeah.
No, I'm on a different algorithm than you.
No, I got this. I got this
Okay.
via text.
All right, what is it?
Yeah.
Not for me. But
No.
in our it's not in our solar system. It's on a massive planet that's known as K2-18b. It orbits a star 120 light years.
That's where Maggie was last week, Manny.
Oh, okay.
Just K2b hanging out. The repeated analysis of the exoplanet's atmosphere, Perloff, suggests an abundance of molecules, of a molecule that on Earth has only known one source, so it's marine algae. Apparently, there's like warm oceans there. It's brimming with life.
Let's go.
Now, it's 120 light years away.
Never mind.
Pearl, you have plenty of time to still build your bunker in case...
Wait, or you make it a Talia-shaped ship, whichever one you want to do.
Right. There's still plenty of time for everything in case, these are not friendly extraterrestrials.
How can we ever get there if it's 100? How do we know this if it's 120 light years? How do you gather information?
These are the astrophysicists at the University of Cambridge who are out front on this one.
Huh.
Whatever.
All right.
Schools are stupid. Universities are dumb. Science isn't real.
Well, I don't think we can take the funding away from this one because it's not our country.
Challenge accepted.
maybe they'll find a way. But so this is what's going on. It's a revolutionary moment, according to doctors. It's the first time humanity has seen potential biosignatures on a habitable planet. I thought that's what Rodgers might be zeroing in on. But no, you're right. The women going up there.
That doesn't sound fake enough. Rodgers likes when we all think one thing and something really different is happening.
Okay, that's we're just a bunch of sheep.
Not algae 120 light years away. He wants something like the Tartarians have come down and built
the pyramids.
They built the blue. What is this thing? The giant phallic.
A blue origin.
Yeah. That was designed by aliens. Then,
yeah, what's funny to me...
I can't believe that's really what it looks like. I thought that was a joke. You're right, though. It is.
Yeah. What's funny to me is all about these things is they never get flagged. Like, nobody in the room has the stones to stand up and be like, it looks like a man's junk. I'm not ordering a blow-up doll. There was a library. Maybe this was this a real thing, or was this one of the plot lines from Veep, where the presidential library was built like a woman's anatomy? Was that real?
I don't know about that one.
Sounds like V.
Oh, no, SoFi Stadium. SoFi Stadium looks exactly... If Penix looks really good, look at SoFi Stadium from bird's eye view.
Here I go.
And tell me what you think it looks like. But nobody ever raises their hand and it's just like, hey, this looks a little like a woman's.
Okay,
a whale's.
I'm leaving this one alone.
I got to say one more thing, though, about if this was all a fantasy of Jeff Bezos, I don't know if that's exact cast he would have had.
Katy Perry? She's a
Katy
baddie.
Perry, maybe. The rest of them,
Gail?
I don't know if Gail's making the cut.
Listen,
and we've
Gail
done this
looks great.
We've done this like
Gail looks great, exactly. That's how exactly every 13-year-old. Gail looks great. Yeah, of course, every woman's like, wow. And I did see that half the internet was women saying, man, what a great makeup job for Gail King. No, that's not fantasy. We're sending up, I don't know. We're sending up Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah,
and
maybe she wasn't available.
Well, no, you don't send them up because you hope they come back.
Yeah, you don't want to risk
them.
The national title.
Women, they think you would send your wife to space hoping that
that's why you said
Houston, we have a problem.
And even Katy Perry, I don't know if Katy Perry right now would be the choice.
She's probably better looking than 99.999% of the population. No, she's a pop star.
But you're getting the biggest celebrities in the world up in space, and you have your choice of anybody. Anyway, this got really shallow really fast.
The first group was like Michael Strahan. Like it's not necessarily like A-list people going.
Well, I mean, Strahan is a different kind of fantasy. Doesn't everyone want to play football at some point?
That's a big A-list guy. Strahan's pretty
I think
good.
Strahan's definitely A-list.
But you're not putting Tom Hanks on there. Or Denzel Washington.
Well, they're busy.
Helen Mirren's not stepping on that thing.
Helen Mirren?
Dame Judi Dench.
You don't think Denzel would take a
Bogusch's
trip in the
fantasies
space?
just got way out of control.
It's not about fantasy. You're talking about you can pick anybody. I don't think that they're picking anybody to be on that thing.
This was very C-list.
Gail's the best they can do these days. They can't get Oprah. They get Gail.
By the way, if Tom
Oprah was
Hanks
there.
you know what would happen if Tom Hanks was up there? Either A, to get stranded in space alone, or B, somebody would take over and say, I'm the captain now. That would not go well.
You can't send up the guy from the movie that said, Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah. There's a million reasons not to do Tom Hanks.
I mean, Tom Cruise
he did get
went.
back. He figured it out. So maybe he is the guy you said.
Cruz would have to go on the side of
Cruz-
the phallic looking.
Cruz was probably
He doesn't
there.
have a seat. He just hangs out of the window.
Cruz
That's
probably
style.
was there on the side.
Ladies.
Tom Cruise
Please.
jumped out of there with a parachute.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they meant for it to be this big empowering moment for women, and maybe I'm just being cynical, but I was like, I just feel like the spacesuits could have been looser. Just felt like they were really tight.
Did they really mean that to be an empowering moment for women?
Yeah.
That was. But there've been many
We're looking
women.
for
There've been many star women astronauts.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
actual astronauts.
No, I know. There was one who was stuck up in space for like 8 months. She's the one who should get the real heroes welcome back.
Yeah.
Those people should be kissing the ground.
Wow. Okay. Yeah,
I
this
have
is
no sympathy for men.
This
the
is
other
like,
part about the
I
fantasy.
just think of, if you're thinking of all, I think of Sally Ride. I don't think of a bunch of celebrities going up in a you-know-what shaped
And they're just
spaceship.
riding. They're not doing anything.
Yeah.
They're just sitting there. They didn't plot the course on the controls.
How would you feel?
You don't know if Katy Perry's pushing buttons up there or
No,
not.
it's such a waste of time. It's just to like show off and burn money. It's so
Yes,
stupid.
This is all for Bezos when this planet is no longer inhabitable because we have so many Amazon trucks and planes that are
And we're
flying
all
around
blind.
and just choking us to death on our own carbon that we're going to need a new planet.
Yeah, I mean, how would you feel right now if you're the MIT-trained astronaut who's worked your whole life to get up in space, and we're saying Katy Perry going up was a moment, a watershed moment for women?
Yeah, everyone going to space, take a step forward. Not so fast, doctor. We need Gail to get in. Girl, you got it. Meanwhile, I have such an embarrassing Amazon story. And we'll get to that another time, like in 5 minutes when Bogusch is done with this update.
Just do it now.
No, we need headlines. I'll get to I had an embarrassing.
He wants to stay and listen to the story. That's why that's happening. That's what's
All
happening.
right, real quick, I'll tell in 30 seconds. I needed to order something, and I can't get it anywhere, a brick and mortar store. So I had to order from Amazon yesterday. Perloff was here, and I needed it fast. And I couldn't just order one thing that cost $5. To me, that didn't make sense. So what I ended up doing, I ordered 4 other things. I'm not ordering a blow-up doll. Not a blow-up doll. I end up spending $70 more.
Why could you order the one $5 thing?
I
Just
felt
so people
guilty about it. I felt guilty. I'm like,
yeah. By the way, she said I couldn't find it in brick and mortar stores. So you're saying it's worse to driving all around to find a Best Buy is better for the environment than what's your guilt? What are you talking about?
I needed a 1/4-inch jack for my
Everybody
headphones.
orders Amazon all the time. It's no big deal.
To deliver me one thing that literally is an inch long.
I'm with you on this.
I'm like, I feel
What?
so
I
bad
don't get
that
it.
the truck's going to come and the delivery
What?
thing for
Why?
this.
They're
So-
going to be there anyway.
Well, so I was like, all right, I might as well make this worth it. And I ended up ordering 4 other things.
Yeah. Oh,
now
my
I got an
gosh.
$80 order, and I feel like the loser.
I
you
have
gave
100% done this.
Wait.
So Jeff
I'm-
Bezos can make another weird shaped shuttle? Like, what are we doing,
Wait,
man?
The next one's going to look like boobs.
Explain
Just
that.
boob shape.
Explain why you would order more if you want a $5 little
Yeah.
radio thing.
The headphone jack.
Why would you give more money to Bezos? Like, what are you trying to achieve here?
I'm not saying it makes sense. This is my own thing where I'm like, I feel like it's wasteful to just order the one thing. So what did I do? I ordered more wasteful things on top of it to, in my mind, justify the order.
Wasteful in what sense?
Like for just this one small item, it's the trucks,
Sending
it's the delivery, it's the whole deal. I'm like, there's got to be some other stuff I
I've
need.
heard-
So I ended up getting a new welcome mat and more of Lucas's shampoo and all the other dumb things that I order on Amazon.
Which
This
is
makes so much sense to
giving
me.
more money to Amazon and encouraging more Amazon deliveries. And
No,
by the
but
way-
you're not. So what you're doing is you're combining things that you might have ended up buying separately
Anyway.
into one thing. Because also,
I do click on all get delivered at the same time, which is why the headphone jack isn't here today.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's
Go ahead.
No, like there's also like just for me, it's as simple as like empty box because that jack is going to come in a box that's 19 times too big, and you're going to open and go, "I'm a dope. I just bought this tiny little thing in this huge box for no reason, so I might as well put a book I meant to buy, or I need underwear. Like I have
But I find-
100% on this.
I find that Amazon often separates them into different packages anyway.
It depends on, I guess, where they're stored.
Yeah.
But
Like,
you can
can't-
click on all come the same day.
Yeah.
It's supposed to
Okay.
be like the environmentally friendly thing, which is always
But even if they do that, do they still put it in the same box?
They may not.
It depends.
They do
But at
not.
least I can
they
recycle the
never do
box.
that.
Yeah,
for us.
that doesn't happen.
See, this is what my generation calls girl math. She couldn't justify just doing the $5 purchase, so she went ahead and just bought all this other unnecessary things.
Yes.
It's just girl math.
I
Just how it is in
also call it
2025.
girl
Yeah.
math.
The boy math for me would have been if the $5 thing was big enough to fill a normal Amazon box, I would have been okay with that. It's like the weird, tiny little thing that costs whatever.
Right.
that just shows up. It's like, I probably should have just done more.
Right. If it's ski boots, it's not a big deal. But
Exactly.
yeah, $5 for a headphone jack. But really, I blame Radio Shack because how dare you
They
go
went
out of business?
Yeah.
Because now I have no idea where else to get a headphone jack.
And I'm just curious.
How dare you?
This truck, this
Radio
one
Shack.
truck that is delivering goods to everybody, that is less gas efficient than you, an individual, driving 20 minutes to Radio Shack?
My Amazon trucks are electric.
I'm just saying,
I drive an electric car.
From an environmental standpoint, him delivering that is better than you going to Radio Shack.
I also have trouble with the idea that you guys are trying to help Jeff Bezos with his business model. Like,
I'm not helping.
It's his dumb business model that, someone could buy something that's $1 and he has to drive around in a truck with a big ass box in it. That's his decision. That's not your decision.
I'm not trying to help him.
They put so many businesses out of business that I don't know where to get a quarter-inch jack
Did you
anymore.
try Circuit City?
That exists?
No.
Nobody beats the Wiz still around?
Maybe Modell's has one laying around somewhere.
I don't know where to go. I guess Best Buy. Are you
I
sure they have
I usually get them from Best Buy.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I could have gone there.
This is so funny. Yeah, go to Best Buy. It's just, you are hurting the environment by driving to Best Buy. There's
I drive
just
an
no
electric
two
car.
ways around it. There's just but this one truck is delivering to everybody. You're saving so many resources. It's unbelievable.
There's also one in walking distance, by the way.
We started this, and I said,
From
I
Maggie?
know it doesn't make
from
any
here.
sense.
Where?
Oh.
There's a Best Buy here?
Yeah, by the R train.
Oh, we're talking out in the burbs.
I'm saying if you left after work.
The other thing too is
15 minute
Amazon.
walk.
The Amazon. You said the Amazon truck comes. I live in an apartment building. That Amazon truck comes 25 times a day. They're there every day. We get Amazon probably every day. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what they are, but every day my wife gets something new.
There's Amazon trucks that be coming in my apartment building at 4 a.m. when I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And which is always weird because I'm like, am I really gonna let you in, bro? But like, what am I gonna do? Like, not let them in?
No, somebody needs a quarter-inch jack.
We know how hard it is to get into EJ's building. And
It's hard to get out. You can get in.
Your Uber Eats. That guy's probably still in there, just dead.
Just a skeleton
EJ wouldn't let him out. Yeah.
The delivery was for him. That's how he's living in your garage.
He would have had more likelihood to get to this planet that's got some life inhabited.
Do you guys
120
know how
light years
scary,
away.
how bizarre that is to be leaving your house at 5 a.m. to go to work and someone's trying to get in your building and they're wearing like, what do you do there? I had a real decision. I was like, because nobody's answering the door.
I've let in more thieves into my building than any human being allowed.
Not all delivery people are thieves, guys, but it would be a good
I'm just saying,
cover.
like a guy. It's like, well, his shirt is blue. It's not even like a delivery shirt. Come on in. I
is
let guys
cold
in all the
outside.
time.
A
ski
brown
mask makes
shirt. You're
sense.
like, must be UPS. All right, well, that's what that was it. That's my guilty thing. I wanted one thing for $5. I ended up ordering $80 worth of stuff. And Bezos wins, and he can build a rocket that looks like a man's genitalia
And you, by the
send a
way-
bunch of women up to space in it. Like one big colossal Girl, you got joke. it.
She created 4 extra boxes, and not to mention, like, you're purchasing things that a mat that was shipped in from China. Can you imagine?
Totally.
What are you doing?
What am I supposed to do?
You were supposed to order the jack for $5 and just be done with it. And it definitely would be the better. If it's a guilt is environmental, then you're screwing everything up.
The guilt's everything. 888-710-4ISN. Can't win. 888-710-4476. Bogusch, hang. We'll get to headlines. See you guys on the phones. We want to talk about Aaron Rodgers and what the heck is going on in Pittsburgh. We thought this thing was signed, sealed, delivered, but now maybe Rodgers getting cold feet. Get to it next. Penix is going to be inserted.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Infinity's mystery, Bilatti's no show. Jay's the real MVP of the Maggie and Perloff show.
Turn on the radio, it's time to hear it all. Maggie and Perloff, they be talking about the ball. Football, baseball, even hoops in the fall. Debating all the takes, man, they never drop the call. Oh, we all just wanna have a ball. Maggie's bringing fire, Perloff's taking every stall. Hot takes flying like a deep end zone hall. Laughing at the Perloff's got a list, but it don't make sense at all. Maggie shuts it down like a big defensive wall. Callers on the line trying to give the little draw. South still yelling about the Mets, man, he's ready to ball. Oh, we all just wanna have a ball. Morning show energy, yeah, they always have a brawl. Well, Perloff's ain't gonna survive another fall. Maggie rolls her eyes, but she's here to take the call.
Tracy Morgan courtside, feeling real nice, cheesing for the camera, sipping on Sprite. Nick's looking hot, the garden's alive. Then suddenly, oh no, man died. Vomits flying, they hit the floor. Took out a fan in row 4. Kenny Albert's trying to call the play, but Clyde just mutters, get out the way.
Rolling out in the wheelchair, what a scene. Projectile blasting like a damn machine. Nick's still winning, but Tracy's losing. Belani's still missing, man, that's confusing.
No start gushing, medics in a sprint. Aaron Judge looking like, what's that set? EJ and Manny covering their eyes. Bruh, this is worse than the Porzingis trade twice. Maybe it was the hot dogs, maybe the beer. Maybe he saw Randall and shed a sad tear. Or maybe he looked at the empty chair where Peter Bellotti should be, but he's never there.
In a wheelchair, what a scene. Projectile blasting like a damn machine. Nick's still winning, but Tracy's losing. Belotti's still missing, man, that's confusing. Maybe it was the hot dogs, maybe the beer. Maybe he saw Randall and shed a sad tear. Or maybe he looked at the empty chair where Peter Bellotti should be, but he's never there. Rolling out in the wheelchair, what a scene. MSG janitors need a hazmat team. Nick's still winning, but Tracy's losing. Bellotti's still missing, HR's confusing.
We love you, Tracy. Hope you're all good. Come back soon to rip the Knicks like you should.
The next time, man, sit a few rows back, or just pull a Bellotti, don't even show up facts. We love you, show up facts.
One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Got a couple things on the table for you this morning. Hello. One, what is going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers and Aaron Rodgers? Why is this not signed yet? Andrew Fillipponi will join us later on in the show from Pittsburgh to get some feel for where they may go. And then Nico Iamaleava and Tennessee parted ways. Who's going to end up looking worse here? Josh Heupel, the head coach of the Vols, or Nico, who's left and now is on the precipice, we believe, of signing with UCLA?
Nico Iamaleava.
That's honestly more of a Perloff joke, man. You're not a dad yet. I don't think you can make that one.
I was hoping I would get a better reaction out of Perloff, and all I got was in here.
No, I just think of my dad jokes are equally as bad, but they're a little more original because everybody made that joke immediately. I'm very careful. I try not to make the same joke on Twitter that everyone else does. It happens.
you can't just dunk on Manny like that. He tried to meet you where you are with a dad joke, and you're
Oh, I thought
you're going to kill his confidence.
Oh, I thought you were doing a drop. That was actually you saying
No,
that?
yeah, that was on air. Okay, I'm just going to shut off my mic and never speak ever until
He's
microphone.
No,
just trying
I'm
to be
leaving.
dad
Everybody
joke
said Nico
with
I am leaving. That was you've heard that. Come on.
I'm sorry.
You
for
can do
disappointing-
better than that.
Sorry for disappointing you, Dad.
Follow my way.
The
Manny.
shame.
Yes.
Perloff is Yoda
Yes.
now when it comes to dad jokes.
No. If you want a tutorial on dad jokes, you've come to the right place.
Understood, master.
This is a fun little Karate Kid moment that you guys
And
are
it's
having
always
here.
better.
A little wax
it's always
on,
better.
wax off.
After you say it, just yell out #dad joke. It makes it all better.
Are you going to take him to San Antonio?
Don't get jealous.
Whatever. Too late.
Apparently, Zach Gelb, who was host the afternoon show, was just in San Antonio.
Enough
having
of Zach
a
Gelb.
million breakfast
Side note.
tacos.
But
God.
to be fair, he did not drive there.
No, he didn't drive there.
Be careful. They'll call in again today.
Actually, Manny would be fun to go to San Antonio with.
You could introduce him to all this new music, like anything that happened before the year 1990.
Yeah, but 1990. Try 2014.
Oh, we were doing this thing on
Manny, not 1990.
Sorry, 2000. We were talking about, Bogusch, you brought this up, the original lineup of Coachella, if you're into that kind of thing, like the original festival lineup from 15 years ago.
I think 99.
Oh, sorry.
I think that's what it was.
Way more than that.
Yeah.
Still slaps, as the kids say. Still holds up.
Yeah.
And I was wondering how many of these bands had Manny ever heard of. You've heard of Tool.
No. I just heard of the derogatory way to use that word.
Or the helpful thing around the house.
That too.
By the way, Coachella's gotten ridiculous. It is the richest, weirdest, pop. It is. It sounds like the worst place on earth.
No, it jumped the shark long ago. But that first lineup was really great.
It used to be like a rock festival. Now you get $200 lobster bagels or something.
Delicious.
It is bizarre. And also, the lineup is terrible. But go ahead, Bogusch.
Beck.
You've heard of Beck?
Negative.
Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, Guerrilla Radio. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll allow it.
Almost like guerrilla warfare.
What do those words mean? Is that an album? Actually, I don't
That's
know.
a song.
Oh, by Rage Against the Machine. Good. Okay.
You've heard Killing in the Name of, or no?
No, I don't have no idea what you just told me.
You should listen to that in the break. It's really good.
What's it called?
Killing in the Name of by Rage Against the Machine.
So again, just to recap, that's who you want to take on vacation, and that's who you want to take to San Antonio.
You can introduce them to all this stuff. It's like,
No, he knows more Rage. I didn't know there was a song called Guerrilla Radio. There you go.
have you ever heard of Medeski, Martin and Wood?
Not a chance.
Actually, I barely know
Do
Medeski.
you know
Martin.
John Medeski?
I don't know John Medeski. Right. Is that like a dead cover band?
Well, no,
like
but in the
jam
vein.
band? Yeah.
In the vein. All right, Bogusch has got some headlines for us. Unless you just
thanks,
want to read
guys.
the 99 Coachella lineup still. Very relevant.
Let's do some basketball. The Dallas Mavericks no longer have Luka. We know that. Kyrie's recovering from his torn ACL, but they still have games to play.
Here's Marshall off the stagger to his right. Drives past DeRozan, right corner. Davis feeling it, has it. 3-pointer for Anthony Davis.
That's Chuck Cooperstein on Mavs Radio. Anthony Davis, 27 points, 23 from Klay Thompson as Dallas cruised to a 120-106 win in Sacramento. So now the Mavs decide the 8th seed in Memphis tomorrow night. The Kings season is over, and they'll apparently be looking for a new GM shortly with a reported mutual, air quotes, divorce with Monty McNair, who's been their GM for the last 5 seasons. The Heat began last night with a 109-90 win in Chicago. That game was 71-47 in intermission. Tyler Hero, 38 points from Miami, who's on to Atlanta for a do-or-die game tomorrow night.
Manny, have you ever heard of Morrissey?
Negative, Ghost Rider.
Have you ever heard of the Smiths?
Will Smith, yes.
Back to you both.
In non-Nico Iamaleava news,
I'm impressed you knew Will Smith, by the way, but go ahead.
QB Ryan Brown and D lineman Bo Atkinson entering the transfer portal to leave Chapel Hill.
What does that? Yeah, sorry. What does this mean, Bogusch? So can you give me like a level of player with them?
No, but I can tell you that South Alabama QB Gio Lopez is expected to go to North Carolina out of this portal, so that's why young Mr. Brown is leaving, because maybe he has a better chance to play somewhere else.
I'm trying to read the tea leaves. Are things going well in Chapel Hill or not going well? I have no idea.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know enough.
Great question.
Bo Atkinson led them with sacks last year. Is it possible that he doesn't fit in their system? Is it fact that they've recruited over him? I actually don't care.
Also, is that Chapel Bill Bill's version, or is that regular
This
Chapel Bill?
This is the one that the other guy owns.
All right, they've all been trademarked by Bill and his girlfriend.
Very quick to baseball, where much to my chagrin, Pearl has forgotten about the big dumper.
The 1-2 to Cal. Swung on, blasted left field. This is hit well. It is back. It is on its way, and it is gone. Cal Raleigh has done it from both sides of the plate. The 4th time in his career. Home run number 100 for Cal Raleigh.
Who, again, his nickname is the Big Dumper. That was Mariners radio. The 2 solo homers, one lefty, one righty, in a 5-3 Seattle win in Cincinnati. Back to you guys.
Yeah, we should have picked some of these lesser guys in our home run derby. It'd be fun to root for. We have like Juan Soto and Mike Trout. This is a guy I wish was on my home run derby team. We're doing a home run contest.
I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
Is there a point where we get to make one trade on our team?
Or maybe a free agent addition?
Or a free agent addition? And
Oh,
if
a
so,
trade.
do we
I
do
like
that
it.
at the trade deadline?
Actually, or like, so you have
Someone's got to leave.
I don't know. My team's pretty good.
Well, then why do you want to change anything?
I'd like to add a guy named the Big Dumper.
It could just be, we never named our teams. That could just be their team name, like a fantasy team name.
The Big Dumper that doesn't have the Big Dumper.
I feel like that's the name of Bezos' next spaceship.
There it is.
Big Dipper, Big Dumper. It works.
I was going to say, because you don't know what the next one's going to look like. It may not look as phallic. It may look a little like a,
It's not going to look like a butt.
Brazilian butt lift.
No, I mean, I don't think a butt's aerodynamic enough to get out of space.
I've seen some butts that defy gravity.
Facts.
Amen.
Thank you, guys. Coming up, Dane Brugler is going to join us. He is one of the foremost
scheduled to appear
experts on the draft from The Athletic.
Draftologist.
Hopefully he's not listening right now.
He knows. He knows. See ya.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
One week from today, first round of the NFL draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin. What do you think the high temperature is going to be? Welcome to the show, by the way. Maggie Gray and Perloff. What's the weather that day in Green Bay?
48 degrees.
Balmy. Right when the first pick is being made.
Oh, I thought you had an answer.
No, the NFL definitely controls the weather, so I wouldn't be surprised if somehow Green Bay gets an unseasonable 70 or something like that.
Definitely.
As far as the guys who are going to be drafted, well, we turn to Dane Brugler, one of the foremost draft experts in our industry. He's from The Athletic, and he does this thing every year called The Beast, and it lives up to its name. Good morning, Dane. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning, guys. How are you?
You know, we love The Beast. It's such a triumph when you do this every year, which is the most in-depth scouting, Pearl, on every draft-eligible person, basically, available. And I love it because you give the breakdowns, the strengths, the weaknesses, and also a little bit about the background of the person and some interesting tidbits, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But Dane, wanted to first ask you about Travis Hunter, who's clearly one of the most interesting people to come along in a long, long time, not just this year. You put him only in the cornerbacks category. You did not list him in the wide receiver category. Why not?
Personally, I like him best as a corner. I think he could be a top 3 corner in the NFL over the next 3-4 years. But that's definitely a split opinion around the league. Some teams look at him and say, all right, I could have maybe a guy that could be a top 3 corner, or maybe he could be a top 10 receiver. And does that have better value for us? And you think about the Browns, especially at 2, they need offense in the worst way. 32nd in the league last year in offensive scoring, 32nd in the league in third down conversion rate. So, we know they need a quarterback as well, but if they don't see a quarterback at 2, let's add a guy like Travis Hunter who could be that spark on offense that we desperately need. I also think, theoretically, doesn't it seem easier to be a full-time corner and then you mix in 25 plays a game on offense as opposed to, the other way where you're a full-time offensive player and then you try to fit him in on defense. That seems like it'd be tougher to do just in terms of preparation and meetings and personnel. But I certainly understand the split and the different ways you could go about it because he is so dynamic on both sides of the ball. And for certain teams, especially a team like the Browns, they need that help on offense.
Dane, what's your take on him playing full-time both ways?
In the NFL, like there's no such thing as two primary positions. It's just we haven't seen it before. I don't think it's ever going to be a thing. Now, you can have a primary position and a secondary position, and I think that's where we get into the debate about what's his primary position. But look, if anybody can, excel with playing both ways, it's Travis Hunter because we've seen him do it consistently. And it's not just the athleticism that it takes, but the mental commitment to understand the playbook on both sides, to all the work that goes into it during the week. And just the sense that I get from teams is this: not only does he have the skills athletically, but the way he is bought in, like football is kind of what he does. He loves fishing. He loves his fiance, but football is kind of what he does. And so you feel good about there not being too many distractions that would keep him from that mental commitment needed to play both ways in the NFL.
Dane Brugler is joining us from The Athletic. He's got The Beast out now, which is, again, the most comprehensive place you can look for any and all of the profiles of all these draft-eligible guys. And not to just harp on Travis Hunter, but just one more question about him, Dane, because he is so unique. So you have him only listed as a corner. You have him as the top corner, obviously, going in this draft. As far as wide receivers, you have Teteroa McMillan, number 1, Matthew Golden, 2, Luther Burden, 3, Emeka Ibuka, 4. Do you think that Travis would crack that top 4 as far as wide receivers, or you didn't even go down that list?
Oh no, he would be wide receiver 1 in this class. Okay. If we're scouting him strictly as a receiver, he would be wide receiver 1. And I think the more interesting way to frame it is where would he be in last year's receiver class? Going up against Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., Rome Odunze. Like, where would he fit in that mix? Because again, this guy, the spark that he brings on offense is tremendous. I think he could be a top 10 receiver over the next 3-4 years throughout the life of his rookie contract. So definitely understand why a team would want him on offense. The upside on defense, like he could be a real dude on defense, and that's kind of why I lean that way.
Dane, shifting over to Travis's teammate at Colorado, Shedeur Sanders, there was a report last week from Albert Breer who said that he can't find many scouts who grade Shedeur as a first-round talent, citing not the outside stuff with Dion being his dad, but that he doesn't have the physical tools of an elite quarterback. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I've been pretty consistent on my opinion on Shedeur since the fall, and I took a lot of heat for it back, in Halloween when, he's always been a late 1, early 2 for me, kind of in that range where I see a path where he can start in the NFL. I mean, he's smart, polished, tough. There's poise to him. You love the fact that what he did when he came to the university with Colorado's 1-11 program in 2022. And then the last 2 years with Coach Prime and Shedeur and Travis Hunter, they had a 500 record, above 500 record. And that's not easy to do. And a lot of that was on the quarterback. So there's a lot that I think he does that will translate to the NFL. But do I think he can be a top 12 to 14 quarterback? I mean, that's where I get hung up a little bit on him. Because he doesn't have those top tier physical traits in terms of the arm strength, in terms of the mobility, the size. He doesn't have those physical traits. And then some of the things in the pocket really worry you. He drifts, he backpedals. He played behind a bad offensive line in college. No debate there. But some of those sacks that he took were on the quarterback. And you wonder, okay, is there scar tissue there playing behind an offensive line like that? I think he can start in the league. I just think that he's going to need help around him in order to be a consistent winner at the NFL level. And so that's how a lot of teams think. And it's going to be interesting on draft night because if he gets past 3, I don't think he's going to the Browns. Giants are always a wild card. We know they're desperate at quarterback. If he gets past 3, then we're on Shedeur watch. And it's like, okay, where does he land at this point? I don't think he's going 9 to the Saints. Could we see a trade up into the middle of the first round? Sure, that's a possibility. What do the Steelers do at 21 if he's available? Is that someone that they would jump at? Do we see the Giants or the Browns trade up from round 2 into the 20s to go get Shedeur Sanders? It's going to be fascinating, the musical chairs that we're going to play at quarterback if he does indeed fall out of the top 15, like I think teams believe that will happen.
Dane Brugler is joining us from The Athletic, one of the best draft analysts out there, and he has the beast, which is like appointment reading, because this is where I learn a lot about these draftees, because, we watch them during the college season, but you get so much more with Dane. We're talking about the parents, the brothers and sisters, what happened in high school, what do they do off the field. It's really a masterpiece. So one guy, Dane, that's really been getting a lot of this late push is Tyler Shough from Louisville. But obviously he wasn't just from Louisville. He also went to Oregon. He also went to Texas Tech. He played college football for 7 years. He's married. Like, I learned that from your column. Do you think this is real, this push? How high do you think he can go? And then just a quick strengths and weaknesses on Shough.
Yeah, NFL teams love Shough. I mean, like, and I tried to get people prepared for this back in January at the Senior Bowl. My Senior Bowl preview, I said, look, Tyler Shough might be the best quarterback here in terms of the traits, in terms of the ability. People get so hung up on the fact that he is a seventh-year senior and he'll be a 26-year-old rookie. And I mean, that's important context to understand the quarterback, but it's not a reason to not draft him. And so I think it is fascinating. He was the number 2 recruit in Oregon's recruiting class that year, 2018. Number 1 is Penei Sewell. Penei Sewell has been in the league for, seems like 10 years now.
He's on a second contract.
Exactly. So it says a little bit about how long Tyler Shough's been playing. And this past year, it's not just that he's an older player. It's the medical situation. This past year at Louisville was the first time in those 7 years he played more than 8 games in a season because of injuries. And so the medical part of this will be a big part of where he lands. He's going to go probably top 40 somewhere, though, because there's enough love around the league. And, he could be the 3rd quarterback taken, could be the 4th, could be the 5th. There's a lot of love for him around the league because of the twitch in his arm. He's big, prototypical size. He can move pretty well. If he were a 4th-year senior, 22 years old, I think we'd be comfortably talking about him as a firm first-round pick. Maybe, the firm quarterback 2. And so some teams, that's already how they look at him. Other teams, understandably, the medicals and all of that. But it's just, it's going to be a fascinating, another reason, throw in Jalen Milroe, throw in Jackson Dart. All these quarterbacks are a little bit different, and teams look at them a little bit different. There's no consensus in terms of who's quarterback 2, quarterback 3 from team to team. Shough is very much in that conversation for several of them.
Another quarterback who was invited to Green Bay, actually, one of 17 players invited to Green Bay was Jalen Milroe out of Alabama. Another polarizing guy. I've seen you have him in mocks at the top of the second round, right around Shough. Any chance that Jalen Milroe goes in the first round?
Sure. Yeah, I think it's possible. And I think if you bet on the upside, you understand why. It's interesting when you track his season. Mid-season, he was looking like maybe a first-round pick. You watched the Wisconsin tape. You watched the Georgia tape. He was phenomenal. And what he does with his arm, with his legs, had 16 passing touchdowns this year. Those 16 passing touchdowns average 36 yards per touchdown. So he's making explosive plays through the air. On the ground, he had 12 rushing touchdowns of 10-plus yards. That's no other quarterback at the FBS level has done that the last 25 years. Lamar Jackson's the only guy close. So he has that explosive ability. It's just, does he have the consistency as a passer to work from the pocket, be accurate, make the right decisions? And you feel like he has shown that at times, but then you watch the Oklahoma tape, then you watch the Michigan tape, and that's when doubt starts to creep into your mind. But nonetheless, this is the type of guy you would love to draft. Me personally, I would love to draft him early 3rd round, develop him, but I don't think he's going to last that long. Teams are really intrigued with him and what he could be 2 years from now, 3 years from now. So he's, along with Shough, along with Jackson Dart, somewhere in that top 50 mix. Team like the Browns, team like the Giants. I do like the fit with the Giants, just, obviously having Russell Wilson there, Jameis Winston. You can bring in Milroe as the 3rd guy, bring him along at his own pace. You're not going to push him onto the field before he is ready. So yeah, it's an exercise of quarterback musical chairs to see where these guys end up.
Dane Brugler with us from The Athletic for just a couple more minutes, talking about all these draft-eligible guys who he does all the in-depth research about it. Away from the quarterbacks just for a moment. I know that's sacrilegious, but going to Abdul Carter, who's obviously your number 1 pass rusher here. As far as weaknesses go, Dane, am I right to be a little concerned about the stress reaction in the right foot and the fact that, we were told, all right, not working out at the combine, but don't worry, he'll work out the pro day. Then we get the pro day, not going to work out at the pro day. I mean, this guy looks like he could be at some point one of the great pass rushers. What we saw in college was outstanding. How scared, though, or how nervous are NFL front offices about that foot?
Yeah, it's definitely something that needs to be discussed, and teams are discussing that. But really, teams don't think he's falling past 4, and Carter doesn't think he's falling past 4. He only took 4 visits, and so he thinks he's going 2 to the Browns, 3 to the Giants, 4 to the Patriots. And I think that I understand why he thinks that, but the foot injury is something that will come up, and something that takes a little bit of a leap of faith that, hey, this will be okay because there's no surgery. It's just we're going to rest it. It's going to recover. It's going to heal on its own. And so just not pushing it too much. Does that mean he's gonna be ready for training camp? All signs say yes. So I think when it's all said and done, Giants at 3. Assuming they don't take a quarterback, you just go blue chip, go the best player available. Good chance that will be Abdul Carter. And you already have, Brian Burns. You paid him last year. Kayvon Thibodeau's still on this roster. But when you're drafting top 3, top 5, you don't draft positions. You draft players. You get the blue chip guys, the top tier players in each draft. This year, there's 2 of them, and 3 if you want to include Cam Ward, 4 if you want to include Ashton Genty, a running back. So Browns, best player available, and in my opinion, best player in the draft, Travis Hunter. Giants, second best player in the draft, Abdul Carter. I think it makes sense.
I have a question. I've been staring at, if you're watching us on YouTube, it's a Raiders helmet behind you. That is Mount Union Raiders, correct?
It is. That my alma mater, yeah.
Right, because I thought it might be Colgate Raiders. I was very confused, and nothing to do with Las Vegas Raiders.
No. Hey, a lot of people don't see that, and they don't think Mount Union. So credit to you for knowing that. Yeah, Pierre Garcon and I were seniors together back in the day at Mount Union, and kind of put me on my path to scouting, and obviously a D3 powerhouse. So yeah, definitely a proud alum.
I had to Google it. I didn't know off the top of my head that was Mount Union, but
I was trying to give you the props. Yeah, okay.
Just take the compliment.
One thing you have much more access to it with your research in the Beast. You hear character issues, and it's always very vague. One guy who was originally in mock drafts all year long, James Pierce, Tennessee, and he's fallen. For people who don't know the backstory there, why is a guy like that, who is obviously supremely talented, often not talked about as a first-round prospect now?
Well, and it's tough talking about the character stuff because those of us on the outside, we're taking secondhand information, right?
Exactly.
It is always tough talking about it, but as one scout put it to me, I just want to be convinced that he loves this. And so, I think that just goes into the questions with Pierce, is making sure that, hey, and there's a lot of guys in the NFL currently who don't just love football. Like, it's the most important thing for them. But I have to be able to be convinced that you are at least going to treat it like a priority. It's going to be your job. It's, you're going to do everything you can to get the most out of your ability to earn your paycheck. And I think that's where teams are hung up with James Pierce. And he's talented enough that teams aren't just saying, well, I don't know, so we're not going to consider him. He's been on a lot of 30 visits, a lot of workouts, because teams know that there's ability there. They see the talent. And so they are putting in the due diligence to figure out, okay, just how much of a concern is this? How much is this maybe just he's 21 years old? It's really understanding who a player is, what makes him tick, how he's wired. That's always easier said than done. And so that's why he's been on a lot of visits as teams try to figure him out. If draft night comes and he ends up going 19 to the Bucs, I wouldn't be a total shock. If he ends up falling to the early second round, that wouldn't be a surprise either. So he really will be a wild card on draft night.
This is what you get from Dane Brugler's Beast. Not only about, James Pierce was arrested on traffic charges that were eventually dismissed in 2023, but also he was a pescatarian first 2 years at Tennessee. So that. Dane, I always like asking you this question when we seem like we do this every year. And again, thanks for your time. The most interesting nugget, like off the field, like interesting, because you do all this research about these guys and not just their 40 times and hand sizes and all that stuff we can get anywhere. But when you do the deep dive, what were the most interesting 1 or 2 nuggets you found out about these draft eligible dudes?
Yeah, and there's a lot of them. The Georgia defensive lineman Nazir Stackhouse is going to be drafted. He battles narcolepsy. And so there are times during meetings where a teammate will tell me that he dozes off, or in games, longer games, he wishes he could take a nap. Like, it's something that he battles with. Jamari Caldwell, the defensive tackle from Oregon. You hear about walk-ons, you hear about JUCOs. He's the rare walk-on out of JUCO, and I think that says something about his football passion. And then I think the best story of all is Siobhan Ravel, East Carolina. All the adversities, you can read about it in the Beast, all the adversities he's went through. But he was working at an Amazon fulfillment center. His JUCO, he went to JUCO football. It was canceled with COVID. So he's working overnight at an Amazon fulfillment center, and he worked a 6 p.m. to 4 a.m. shift, and a couple hours later, he's in the car going to East Carolina for a tryout, and his dad actually sent me the video. He was sitting in the stands of him running the 40, and then the coach kind of running him down, showing him the stopwatch and saying, okay, you've got a scholarship. And he was able to turn that into a big-time 2023 season, projected first rounder, and then this past September tore his ACL. It's like, all right, how much adversity can this guy take? But he's unfazed. He knows football is his future, and he'll be drafted probably somewhere in the second round on Friday night. And he's not a guy I'm going to bet against.
One of those feel-good stories. I also did not know that Teteroa McMillan standout volleyball player. So thank you, Dane. The beast is a beast. So thank you. You can read it on The Athletic. Dane, have a great final week here before the draft, and enjoy next Thursday, and we'll catch up with you soon.
All right, can't wait. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate that.
Thanks.
Dane Brugler, the beast.
Yeah, did you know the purple Raiders hat was Mount Union?
Neither did you, apparently.
No,
I
saw Raiders. I got real excited because I'm a lifelong Colgate football fan. No, my mom's from where Colgate is, so I saw Raiders. I'm like, oh, I wonder if Dane played at Colgate. Maybe it was at Mount Union, which we know because there are NFL guys who come out of there.
Well, you said Pierre Garçon.
And there's another. Where'd Victor Cruz go? He went to UMass?
He went to UMass.
Same thing. We'll give him all. Sure. Oh, no, how about that? There's another Mount Union player in the NFL. Research team, please hit it, and we will vamp. No, I'm just kidding. There's somebody else, right? Help me out. Anyway.
You're treating me like Google. I don't know. Pierre Garçon, I thought was a good one.
That's a great one.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Who is it?
That kind of explains why Dane is gets so deep into these smaller school guys. And you weren't kidding. He gets so deep.
Oh my gosh. I remember there was a detail once about a beast a couple years ago with Zach Wilson. And it was that he was like the type of medication that he takes. I was like, whoa, I didn't even know this kind of info was out there. And that's just some of the stuff. But then you get really great stories. You get some lighthearted stuff, too. You know what I find is really the big thing? All the parents were athletes. Not necessarily pros, but it's like the mom was a commit to play softball at Oregon, and the dad played at blah, blah, blah. And it's always that. Who is it?
It's Nick Sirianni. That's what we're talking about. That's why we're always talking about Mount Union. And people are like, oh, he's got that Mount Union attitude.
We're not always talking about that. That's your Eagles text thread.
But people say that Mount Union formed Nick Sirianni's personality, and apparently, because I see Dane Brugler, who is calm and logical and smart, and I see Nick Sirianni yelling at fans. I don't know. Mount Union obviously has a wide range of outcomes.
It's in Alliance, Ohio. Mount Union.
Is it? Oh, I had no idea. Yeah, Sirianni is the one. That's the only reason we've been talking about them. Not a lot of NFL players. Cecil Shorts went there.
There you go. Manny, you look like you have more to say.
No, I was just, your crack research team back here actually went to research, and then he found the information himself. But I let out a little exasperated sigh after I saw Nick Sirianni. I was like, how could, of course.
Of course.
Of course.
So wait, did Sirianni play there, right?
I mean, listen, man, I just went on Wikipedia's page and said he's a notable alumni on that thing, so.
Alliance, Ohio, which is 70 miles from Cleveland and 80 miles from Pittsburgh.
I wonder a guy like Dane.
That's football country right there.
Not to focus too much on Dane, but that feels like a guy an NFL team could hire tomorrow.
Oh, like part of the research team?
Yeah, like bring him in on a team. It happens. A lot of people who know Pro Football Focus have switched over and work for teams now. I feel like an NFL team listens to him and be like, yeah, that's a guy we could use in our scouting department. I don't know if he would ever do that, but he seems easily talented enough.
It's funny because we've worked with a few people who have gone on to work for front offices in very different ways. Like our pal Luke Wynn, who covered college basketball for a long time for Sports Illustrated, ended up in the Raptors front office and is still there. And we just saw him at the SI reunion over the summer. And then our pal Lee Jenkins, who is like one of the great NBA writers, broke LeBron James going back to Cleveland and many other things. He's been with the Clippers now for a really long time. But Lee's not an analytics guy. He's like I don't even know what Lee does there, quite frankly. He's definitely part of the brain trust. He's always there in the front and always there around Steve Ballmer. I think he's like not a vibes guy. It's way more than that. It's like a research guy. Like he really digs deep on the psychology of these guys.
He's like, what is it you do around here? But I mean, like,
no, but Lee is one of the best.
Our guy Daryl Morey used to feed Stats to the Dan Patrick Show in 1999. He was at
so funny.
he worked for Stats Inc. or one of the, and then Eric Eager left PFF and now is with the Panthers.
Andy Benoit,
Zach Robinson, the offensive coordinator, and Kevin O'Connell, I think, did a tour at PFF. A lot of guys. Yeah, it's Andy Benoit, as I like to call him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of, but I think like, would that surprise you if one day you heard that Dane was brought in to be a scout for
well,
a team?
I'd be bummed about it, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Not for myself, but selfishly, because I rely on the beast quite a bit.
Right. I mean, that is like the ultimate compliment.
NBA draft people from YouTube and people who have done stuff have been getting plucked left and right. It's been actually crazy, like the amount of work, and it's cool to see. You see people who literally just start a YouTube channel and then they're working for like the Portland Trailblazers, but that's a big thing too in the NBA as well.
Do you remember this guy named Haralabob Vulgaris? He's kind of big on Twitter and stuff. Bill Simmons used to have him on his pod a lot. He's like a gambler, and the Dallas Mavericks hired him to be like really high up in the front office.
Yep.
What? Why are you looking at me like that, man?
I'm listening.
Oh,
All I
okay.
did is my listening face.
That's your listening face? It was like a womp womp.
I wonder if he gave the green light for the Luka trade.
No, he was long gone.
Oh.
I don't think he and Rick Carlisle saw eye to eye. They're both gone. 888-710-4ISN. But one will be coaching in the playoffs starting this weekend. 888-710-4476, where a lot of people think that Indiana could upset the Milwaukee Bucks, and then we're all on Giannis watch for the rest of the summer. So
future Nick.
Put that in your pipes. Okay, coming up, lots more to do, including one quarterback doesn't want to be friends with any other quarterback. Who? Why? We'll break it all down next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. That was great having the Athletics' Dane Brugler on, publisher of The Beast, the Ultimate Draft Guide. You notice, Maggie, who we did not ask about or nobody's really talking about?
Cam Ward.
Cam Ward? Oh,
Yep.
how'd you know I was going to say that?
I was thinking the same thing.
I just looked at the odds. This is from Pro Football Talk, DraftKings, minus 20,000 favorite to be the number one overall pick. I can't even do the math.
Gonna lay
so
$100 on that.
if we lay $1,000, what do we get on that? 20 cents?
Maybe breakfast.
Not breakfast. Not in this.
Is someone going to drop that bet? I'm curious. So Cam Ward just slides into Tennessee. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's the only one who people can kind of agree on, and even people don't think he would be number one in any other draft.
Yeah, definitely. The odds are shifting pretty strongly. Number 2, Travis Hunter, minus 350. Number 3, Abdul Carter, minus 300. So that's pretty big.
So
3 to 1.
Just to let you know what Dane did write, one sentence that did stand out about Cam Ward, because I did read I read the profile on him. With his talent and intangibles, he projects as an NFL starter in the mold of a taller, slower version of Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I could see that. Improvisational.
So there you go.
I still like the Mahomes. I think you can compare a quarterback to Patrick Mahomes without saying he's going to be as great as Patrick Mahomes, because he throws from odd angles just like Mahomes. So
yeah, but actually, apparently some scouts don't like the low arm angle. So that's one of the weaknesses that it can be looked at as that. I was reading this. Hold on, let me get it for you.
Right, but doesn't Mahomes do that?
So this is a weakness according to the Beast. Low, almost sidearm throwing slot will be an issue for some NFL coaches.
Yeah. Until he slings that down the slot like he did in Miami. EJ, how many times did that work?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he throws cannons with that sidearm release. I was gonna say, did you guys see during his he was streaming video games and they were asking, he's talking about his favorite players, favorite wide receivers, Treylon Burke and Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, best running back in the league, Ty Spears.
Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard. I was like, oh. Yeah,
he gets
weird.
it.
Best NFL coach, Brian Callahan. Number 2, Kevin Stefanski.
Best stadium, Nissan Stadium.
I mean, listen, this dude knows what's coming. So it's not that interesting. But to be honest, I'm still intrigued by the draft because it's such a closely guarded secret of what the Browns are doing.
Well, it seems
and the
like
Giants.
But these are pretty good odds. I mean, it does seem like everybody, you can't make any money off Travis Hunter there anymore. Doesn't seem that close on Cleveland. New York is a little more mysterious. I'm not hearing anything except Travis Hunter at Cleveland.
So Joe Shane spoke yesterday, and I was curious if Bogusch and Manny, who are big Giants fans around here, were you hanging on every word from Shane, who is clearly a genius, as we learned last year in Hard Knocks. He's got this draft thing under control. I'm just kidding. Did you feel like you got anything either way from Joe Shane? They're working out Shedeur Sanders today in Colorado.
Yeah, I think we're not taking a quarterback at 3. But
you think so?
Sometime after that, we're taking a quarterback.
I mean,
why work out Shedeur
you barely even got. Actually, I got like we might not take one later. That's what I heard.
Yeah. Same here.
I just can't imagine that is what's going on here.
I mean, Maggie could be right. This could all be smoke. Lying season.
I just don't think it was a lie when the owner said months and months ago, if we don't come out of this draft with a long-term answer at quarterback, I'm going to be disappointed. And they came away this offseason with Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson. So, I don't know. But again, the Pittsburgh Steelers owner said he wanted to keep Justin Fields or Russell Wilson, and obviously they didn't keep either of them. So, maybe everyone doesn't follow the owner's orders, but guys on the hot seat, I think, do.
Well, I got to tell you, though, they're at 34 in the second round. That's a great spot to get a quarterback. Wouldn't that solve the problem, too? Just coming, you said they have to come away with a quarterback, so get Abdul Carter and then come away with either Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, or Tyler Shough. Doesn't that solve the problem?
It does. You know, we had this conversation yesterday off the air because we're nerds and this is just what we talk about even when we're not talking into microphones, about where the second round has really kind of been a wasteland for quarterbacks. You got your outliers about Jalen Hurts and Boomer Esiason.
There you go. Oh, no, we did this last week when you were off.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Drew Brees, right?
Oh, there's tons of
No, you do. But over
you gotta
history,
go through history. Exactly.
We're gonna. But I'm saying recently.
They wrote me off. I ain't right back though.
Also, Boomer as a second-round pick was a comically low draft number because the league was smaller then.
Yeah. Also,
What the hell
Geno
was that all
Smith.
about?
I mean, yes, you can get good guys. Well, Geno took 10 years for him to become a thing, but
Randall Cunningham. Let's not forget him.
okay. But again, what year was that?
Yeah, these are throwing darts at a dartboard, though.
Well,
like,
here's
there's
the
so
thing.
many bums.
What I'm
but
saying
that's
is,
give you bad first-round picks too.
oh, totally. But what I'm saying is, like, to be like, here's the strategy. We do need to find a quarterback in the future, so we're going to get him in the second round. Generally, that doesn't work.
Okay. Yes. Right. History will tell you that the truly legendary quarterbacks are taken very early in the first round.
Hey, Seattle.
But that guy doesn't exist in this draft after Cam Ward. That's the problem. The problem is that Shedeur Sanders is good enough to not, or is bad enough to not take it number 3.
Right.
Like you can pass over Shedeur Sanders or something else because of the limitations of him as a prospect. This conversation would not be happening if Shedeur was better or there's a different combination of guys in this draft.
Well, it'd be a totally different conversation because you might have to jump Cleveland. Like, you know, there's also a positive of this, which is you're sitting there at 3, and besides Cam, you could have your take. Like, at some point, do you have to take a risk? Your quarterback, you haven't replaced him since Eli Manning. Daniel Jones was not the answer.
I just go back to that question, though, with Shedeur, where, again, if you had a quarterback who went from HBCU, went to school, turned them around, threw for 4,000 yards, and his wide receiver won the Heisman, I just think that quarterback never doesn't
go high
profile as a first-round pick.
Right.
So that's where I'm having the trouble. I know we're talking about his physical traits. He's tall enough or whatever. I just feel like we've seen them throw that book out the window in terms of physical traits and how tall you are for other guys.
Totally.
So that's why the Shedeur thing doesn't make sense to me.
Smaller and slighter than him.
Yeah. So like I get that maybe he's not, Drake May or Justin Herbert in terms of physical traits, but a guy who did the things that he does typically goes in the first round. So I'm trying to figure out what else is Deion that much of a factor?
Yes.
What's going on?
Yes. I think it's Deion. I agree with you. Like, it's got to be something else. It's not him, is it? I mean, it's not his personality. I know that he's a little brash. He wears flashy, and he did call out his lineman, even though Mel Kiper said he did not. But still, it's got to be Deion.
I see. I don't know, but the idea that he's going backwards behind a bad offensive line, like, no kidding. Also, they're not finished products when they come to the NFL as rookies. But anyway, let's get to Bogusch's headlines.
Wait, can I say one more thing about Shedeur? Watch any highlight. Every analyst is like, he's the best in this class of reading progressions. He just doesn't have any mobility. And the highlights underneath are him running out of tackles and throwing the ball with these funny arm angles with 7 guys chasing him. He's never dropping back and throwing a touchdown pass. I've laughed so much at ESPN. Sorry, go ahead, Bogusch.
If you're down
John Medeski
24 points by halftime at home, did you really make the play? And the Bulls took it on the chin last night, eventually losing to the Heat 109-90, ending their season. Head coach Billy Donovan.
The disappointing part was we didn't play to our identity. We just didn't. And I talked before the game about the turnovers. We had, we had 10 or 11 in the first half, and you give up 23 points at this point in time. You can't win like that. It's hard.
You also can't win giving up 38 to Tyler Hero. He and Miami off to Atlanta for another elimination game tomorrow night. Things only a little closer in Sacramento in the nightcap. The Kings falling at home to the Mavs, 120-106. 27 points for Anthony Davis, 23 from Klay Thompson. Dallas plays in Memphis tomorrow night for the West 8 seed. The Kings, meanwhile, expected to part ways with GM Monty McNair after 5 seasons. It might be a mutual separation as far as McNair realizing this wasn't a good spot for him anymore because of ownership. But enough with the current NBA. Let's go back to Pearl's heyday, the 80s Celtics. There was a time where Robert Parrish was fighting for a new contract in Boston, and Larry Bird didn't necessarily come to Parrish's defense. Parrish told part of this story on the new Celtics documentary. Chris Mad Dog Russo then asked Parrish for more info yesterday on SiriusXM.
I didn't harbor any animosity, no resentment towards Larry. Matter of fact, I didn't even mention it to Larry. My opinion was, if that's the way he feels, that's the way he feels. But I also told myself, if that motherfucker ever needed my help, God help him.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah. Robert Parrish, out of nowhere, dropping that word.
Well, I'm sorry, what was the original? Larry didn't come to his defense
there was
about
a
what?
contract thing, and I guess Bird, this is what Parrish said. Bird told reporters, like, we'd be okay if Robert left. Instead of being like, we need Robert, we should pay Robert. He didn't come and go, hey.
We got to keep him.
He said that publicly.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, Larry, didn't care.
Larry
True
Bird,
story.
Larry Bird was like the original, I hate to say it to him because it's kind of disrespectful, but he was the original Kobe Bryant. He was ruthless when it came to his teammates.
Right. If you're not helping me win, I've got no use for you.
Yeah, I mean,
he's like Jordan in that way.
Yeah, he would talk bad about them in the press, kill them in the locker room. Like he had the Larry Legend mentality that then became the Mamba mentality.
Yeah. Man, do that to the Chief.
Yeah, and then do that to Doggy, who, by the way, had a really big show yesterday because he also had 89-year-old golf legend Gary Player on.
Oh,
and
Gary's a great interview.
This is how he said goodbye again to 89-year-old Gary Player.
You are the best. Stay alive.
Oh, my goodness.
True story.
Don't you go dying on me.
I think Gary Player, he still does like 100 sit-ups and 100 push-ups a day.
I don't know, but stay alive.
Like, do you have any control over that?
I guess the sit-ups and the push-ups?
Yeah, maybe. I guess I'll get on that.
I'll do my best.
I don't think I can do 2 push-ups.
You are the best. Stay alive.
I might say goodbye to everyone like that.
Whoa.
At what age does that become like a reality where you got to start saying that?
I don't want to. In this day and age,
It depends on the person.
I think so. Like, look at Pete Carroll. He just got a head coaching job at 73. And nobody's like, is he too old? We're all like, yes, Pete Carroll's back.
Yeah, I'm more nervous about Manny than Pete Carroll. Manny, stay alive, okay? Get here tomorrow.
You are the best. Stay alive.
Manny's got a really big afternoon setup of eating a McDonald's chicken sandwich in his car.
All alone. Like God intended to.
They were saying, like, I see a lot of videos on social media, people eating in their cars, like trying new foods, but the video is taken in the car. And I don't love that because I feel like when I find myself eating alone in my car, like I'm not proud of myself. Like I'd rather be eating anywhere than alone in my car.
Love that solitude.
Maggie, you got to be more careful about your algorithm because the thing is, if you just watch one of those, just one, you're doomed for life.
Some guy was trying a new bakery around where I live. And so he's like, I got a chocolate thing. And I watched it because I'm like, maybe I should stop at this place. Yeah, anyway.
Once you get past, 4 seconds on that video, you were getting 1,000 people eating in their car.
Is that the cutoff? Really?
I don't know.
It's less than that.
It's a moving target, but it's not long.
It's either people eating in their cars or dudes getting into fistfights on golf courses.
Stay alive.
What are you watching?
That's my algorithm, and I don't like fight videos. I'm not like I'm not clicking on that stuff.
That's kind of 40% of Barstool Sports' content.
Well, maybe I follow too many of their people.
Who wouldn't watch a golf fight? I don't know. Also, those are fascinating.
They're always brawls too, because it's like a foursome versus another.
But
foursome.
no one ever ends up getting severely hurt that I know of.
Why are you so mad on the 14th fairway?
Because everyone's so drunk.
I think because you're waiting, it's a frustrating place. If somebody was behind me, they would just beat me up, and I would understand.
Maybe
Stay alive.
Dog was right to say that to Gary Player.
No, if you step to Gary Player, it's your funeral.
I mean, listen, Rory gave the silent treatment to Bryson DeChambeau. It's a brutal place, this golf course. Yeah.
You see, his psychologist came out and explained that.
Yeah.
They said they wanted him to be in a cone of silence.
Yeah, I mean, the other alternative, he was going to repeat everything that Bryson said right back to him. Hey, how are you looking at that putt? How are you looking at that putt?
Cocoon of silence is also what I call my time when I'm eating alone in my car.
I've seen my two daughters get into a fist fight over the repeat game that little kids play.
It's the worst.
And when I say my two daughters, I mean me and my two daughters. If they done that to you, Bogusch, you know what the...
And your poor wife, who's like a high-level educator, is just sitting there watching this happen in her house.
Oh. Maggie, does your son do that?
Not yet, but he has done the...
Has he learned that game?
No, he's learned the... Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
Why? Why?
Oh, that was
Why?
the
I'm like,
worst.
who taught you that? Was it that little girl, Amabel?
Yeah, Annabelle. And that little smile, I'm sure like a little smile's creeping up his face by the eighth
Why? Why, mommy? Why, mommy? I'm like,
Because why?
I had a camper who kept asking why, and I eventually just had to, because society says so, buddy. I don't know what to tell you.
That's what you get. I don't know, because the sun is above the earth. That's why. Why?
And then he looked even more, and then I got another
God.
why. All right.
Why?
Buddy. Just go play, bro.
I'm eating in my car. Leave me alone.
Yeah, man. Let me enjoy this McChicken in peace.
Why are you?
And your car's gonna smell like BO.
Why are you eating a McGriddle in your Nissan Altima alone
Crying.
on the side of the road? Crying.
Listening to Rage Against the Machine, which I just sent to Manny.
I had a camper. No, you were just parked next to a playground eating your lunch. When he came to your window.
Nah, come on.
All right, 888-710-4ISN. Do you eat in your car? And if so, do you feel good about it?
Truckers will back me up on this one.
Well, if it's your job, it's your job.
Call in truckers.
That's different. Okay, coming up,
True
what's
heroes
going
of
on
America.
between Tennessee and their former quarterback? We get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff, the Bee Gees, John Travolta. Yeah,
I get it. It's a stay alive line. Manny, brilliant. Because we just finished the last segment. What did Mad Dog say?
Mad Dog Russo interviewed Gary Player, who's 89 years old. Bogusch played this for us last segment, and as he's giving his sign off to Gary, said, "Stay alive."
You are the best. Stay alive.
How's
Manny.
Gary supposed to say that? I'd be like right back at you, man. Who do you think's healthier right now, Gary Player or Mad Dog Russo? Who's got a healthier lifestyle? Whose blood pressure is lower?
I mean, the fact that Mad Dog's head hasn't exploded after all these years, I think he's going to live to a healthy old age.
I've got 2 gummies and I've got 2 nickels on.
Yeah, the amount of gummies that he takes sometimes on the air. Okay, we put a poll question up on X. Who will come out looking better in the end, Nico Iamaleava or Tennessee? So
True story.
Who's going to look better after this divorce?
I'll bet you Tennessee won that poll.
93%.
Yeah.
It's funny because, Manny, let's play the clip from Urban Meyer, can we? Because Urban Meyer, and I don't think this is like a Florida-Tennessee thing. I don't think it's a rivalry thing. I don't think he's just dunking on Tennessee for the heck of it. But Urban Meyer on his Triple Option podcast was not bullish here on what Tennessee just did. In fact, he says they're in big trouble.
Here's the reality is Tennessee is screwed. I mean, they got a problem.
Yeah, big time. Let's play cut 8 next because Urban Meyer, who knows how rabid fan bases are after coaching and winning titles at Florida and Ohio State, says Tennessee fans may like this now, but you get into the season and you start losing games, it's going to be different. Everybody's saying, hey, nice job, Tennessee, making a stand. I got a little comment on that. Tennessee plays Florida usually every year in October. Can you imagine if the game's going the other way and Coach Hypo grabs the microphone and stands on the 50-yard line in Neyland Stadium and says, hey, it's okay, I made a stand way back when. Yeah, he'd get booed out of the stadium. And Urban Meyer's not wrong here, Pearl. He understands like the fickle nature of being a fan. You know, this is our right as fans. We get to cheer you when we want. We get to boo you when we want. We can have revisionist history when we want. We can say, I told you so. All that stuff. So he's saying that Tennessee is going to ultimately pay the price here.
Well, I just felt that some of Josh Heupel's comments were a little strange. He said nobody is bigger than the program. This is a college football era where guys stay at a college for 1 year. There is everybody's bigger than the program. I mean, Tennessee would take the top transfer guy. They're about to poach somebody from someone else. Every coach would leave. No, every coach would leave for a better deal. Like, this is not a sport where guys are really tied to the program like the NFL, because it's, first of all, you're only there for 4 years in the best of circumstances. And now with the transfer portal, everyone's bigger than the program. Everyone's for sale. This is kind of business as usual. It's just, he didn't show up for practice. That was where Nico really screwed himself. Like, he was technically holding out. I think that he could have done it a different way.
Well, yeah, I mean, he felt like he was owed more money. I think he got the power dynamic wrong, right? Where you're right. I mean, everyone's a free agent. There's no more loyalty. But he thought he was worth a lot more. And here's the thing. The one thing to me that Josh Heupel has going for him here, Urban Meyer says that Tennessee is screwed, but the one thing he has going for him here is that he saw Nico in the building every single day. And Nico asked for more money. And if they thought that this was the difference between a national title and not making the college football playoff, well, Josh Heupel, he's a good coach, but he's not like it's not like he's so different from everybody else. They'd find the $2 million, the $1 million. They'd find the money to keep him happy if they really thought he was worth this money. If this was Joe Burrow coming back to LSU for another year, you'd find whatever the price was that he said. I think they saw him in the building and said, you know what, we can do this without you.
Do you think Tennessee's better today than they were yesterday?
They're not, but they're also a team that I think can win with defense and running in a run game, and did a lot of that last year. Now, they were expecting Nico to probably take a pretty gigantic step forward this season to live up to that $4 million.
I mean, do you think that Nico would have been the quarterback if he didn't ask for more money? So, yes, of course he would have. So, I don't know. This idea that, like, oh, he wasn't that good, we could just move on, that seems overly optimistic to me. I think they're going to probably be disappointing this year.
888. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, they were in the playoff. They're not making the playoff this year.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Coming up, so what the heck is going on in Pittsburgh? Why hasn't Aaron Rodgers signed yet? Are they going to draft a quarterback? And what's the vibe? Andrew Fillipponi is going to join us from Pittsburgh next. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break.
We love your show,
Daily was waiting by that glowing screen, hoping night shift crown would go to the king. Ship held it down night after night, with fire in his voice and truth in his mic. But the news came in like a cold hard slap. Pat Boyle's got it, felt like a trap. No shade on the kid, but let's be real, Shepard earned a late night deal. Now Shepard ain't sleeping and Daly's in tears. The Shepard maniac's been loyal for years. We stayed up late, we rode every wave, but they gave it to Pat and dug Ship's grave. So we howled the moon and cursed at the sky, asking one question: why, oh why, oh why? Meanwhile, Bellotti still don't show up for work. No call, no text, just gone with a smirk. Yet Ship clocked in through the thick and the thin. Rain or shine, he'd always check in. Infinity, you broke our trust. We wanted Shep and that's a must. You picked a Boyle, but we needed flame. Now the overnights just won't be the same. Yeah, Shep, it ain't sleeping, we're twisted with rage. You skipped the vet for the new kid on stage. From the Bronx to the burbs, we're standing tall. Shep, a maniacs, answer every call. So crank up the static, let the record show. There's only one man for that late night blow. Pat's got the slot, but it don't feel right, 'cause Shep, it ain't sleeping, not tonight. It ain't sleeping. Daily was waiting by that glowing screen, hoping night shift crown would go to the king. Ship held it down night after night, with fire in his voice and truth in his mic. But the news came in like a cold hard slap. Pat Boyle's got it, felt like a trap. No shade on the kid, but let's be real, Shepard earned a late night deal. Now Shepard ain't sleeping and Daly's in tears. The Shepard maniac's been
1 minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Gonna be honest, thought this whole Aaron Rodgers Pittsburgh Steelers thing would have been done already. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Thought it was gonna go down at this Pat McAfee live show that happened in Pittsburgh. That came and went. The draft is a week from today, so I have now serious doubts that Rodgers would get signed now before the draft, right?
Well, their workouts start, I think, the 21st. Why not? Well, he could sign tomorrow. Well, there's nothing stopping him. He's not doing anything, is he?
I don't know. I haven't seen him on any weird podcasts, or I didn't think he was on that Blue Origin phallic spaceship that went up to space, right?
The conspiracy with Katy Perry?
I don't know. But it is kind of odd. And, you know, it does leave the Steelers right now. They're certainly at a big crossroads. And I'm not saying they couldn't have Aaron Rodgers and also draft a quarterback. You could stack those two things on top of each other. But, you know, what's the plan here? Is it to go with the 40-year-old, you know, last shot at a Super Bowl, or is it to turn the page and try to find, you know, what they thought Kenny Pickett was going to be in the first round of the draft? Let's get the thoughts of Andrew Fillipponi, a host on 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh. And Pony, thanks so much for joining us this morning. How you doing, pal?
Right now, doing breakfast trade negotiations with my daughter.
Are you winning or losing?
Live that. Well, it's like at a stalemate.
Yeah.
I had to move her fruit into a Pirates mini helmet, like the ones you get at a baseball game and put ice cream in.
Oh, nice. No, that's a great
There's
solution.
a raspberry on the floor that she's now stepped on, and she's rubbing into our hardwood. So, great.
That's awesome. Raspberry comes out of carpets, like super easy. So here's the question. What's the holdup with Aaron Rodgers, Pony?
Well, if I had to bet right now, I would say he doesn't come here. I don't think he views, this is just my opinion, I'm not talking to Aaron Rodgers because no one is. I don't think anyone's talking to his agent, David Dunn, either. But my guess is that he does not view the Steelers as a team where he can rewrite his football ending and have a happy ending. I think that there's some scar tissue from how the Jets thing went. And maybe when this started a month ago, I thought he is so narcissistic and so full of himself and conceited that he feels like he can go anywhere and turn that team into a winner. I think he's being a little bit more selective and picky. And also, I think he may have thought at the beginning of this process that the Steelers were a place he could just walk in and win. And maybe after digging and coming here and meeting with the team, maybe he has some reservations about that too now. So I tend to agree with some of the reports that are out there now. Diana Rossini, Aditi Kinkabwala, who was on our show yesterday, where if it's the Steelers or nothing, I could actually see him doing nothing.
Why doesn't he think the Steelers could be winners? They won 10 games last year, added DK Metcalf, the wide receiver. What is the negative there?
Well, they haven't won a playoff game since 2016. The other soon-to-be Hall of Fame quarterback had a huge falling out at the end of the season with the offensive coordinator and the coaching staff here, where there were questions about whether or not he had any real authority to pick plays and audible and do what he wanted. And, of course, I'm talking about Russell Wilson, and it got so bad where it seems like the Steelers had absolutely zero interest in bringing Russell Wilson back. Okay, so you're not into raspberries now. Thank you. Okay, cool.
Multitasking.
Yeah, it's training with Nico Harrison a lot easier than dealing with my daughter.
Fair.
So I mean, I think that Aaron Rodgers has had an appreciation from afar of Mike Tomlin, and I think seeing what happened maybe at the end of Roethlisberger's career, where they took some privileges and freedoms away from him, and what happened with Russell Wilson last year might make him think otherwise about just how much say and control he would have over things here.
Andrew Fillipponi joining us, 93.7 The Fan, also master chef, we're realizing, making breakfast this morning. Okay, let's just go down the road of, let's say this thing, because Rodgers is unpredictable. Let's just say this thing turns around. All of a sudden we get the report, private jet landing, at the airport, and Rodgers is here. Would he get a hero's welcome in Pittsburgh, or are fans dubious of him?
I think more fans would be at this point annoyed and still irritated by him if he showed up and played. I mean, I'd rather have Mason Rudolph start at this point. He rescued their season 2 years ago. And look, if it doesn't go well with him, then you go into 2026 and you've got a clean slate and you've got a lot of compensatory picks coming your way, which gives you a chance to move up and down the draft board for that year. And maybe you'll actually have your first losing season since 2003. And that was the season that set the Steelers up to draft Ben Roethlisberger. So there are worse things than having Mike Tomlin's first losing season. I don't think he's a popular player here at all right now. And I think some of the things you've seen or heard about Cam Hayward and how he truly feels and really feels about the way Rodgers has held the team hostage, and even this Watt cryptic thing on Instagram, I do think that some of that is related to the fact that they think it's a bad look for the team, that they're basically on their knees praying that Aaron Rodgers comes here and saves them.
That Watt Instagram post, Andrew Fillipponi's joining us from Pittsburgh. That Instagram post where he just throws up the peace signs, what are you making of that? What's everyone making of that?
Well, I think he wants to be the highest paid defensive player in the league. I think he wants more than Myles Garrett. Those guys have a huge personal rivalry. I don't think they like each other very much at all. And I think that Watt found it offensive when there were media reports a couple of weeks ago that the Steelers wanted to keep him but didn't want to pay him as much money as Myles Garrett. And he takes those things extremely personally. He's super prideful. This is how these guys generally keep score. So I think that that really got on his bad side. And, I also think there's probably something to the idea that he thinks it's a slap in the face that they would prioritize Aaron Rodgers over him, and they would spend all this time chasing Aaron Rodgers and not really any time to this point trying to really negotiate a contract with him. That's more of a back burner issue for them at the moment.
So Maggie had a good idea. She called Shedeur Sanders the idea of drafting him a palate cleanser, where you could instantly change a bunch of narratives if you bring the Sanderses to Pittsburgh. What do you think of that idea as a solution?
I've liked it a lot. I've probably among media here and fans here been the most gung-ho and open and excited about it. And I get all of the draft weaknesses and holes in his game and everything else. And he's not an athlete like his dad, and, dealing with maybe some personality quirks with him from, his whole life in football and only having been coached by his dad and all those things. But he's succeeded at every level, and there's obviously been roadblocks and things that have been put up to make it set up for him to fail. So I'm not someone that's going to bet against Shedeur Sanders, even if I acknowledge when I say that I really don't think this is a good place for him as far as the construct of the offense, the head coach. Yeah, they've got DK Metcalf, but they also have George Pickens, who I think if you're going to put him in a positive or negative column would probably be a negative, just because of the way he has a tendency to fly off the handle and be a loose cannon. So, yeah, I think that would be a lot for any quarterback, 41-year-old quarterback or 23-year-old rookie to deal with.
Andrew,
especially when the guy's going into a contract year. Yeah, Maggie?
Oh, sorry about that. Didn't mean to cut you off there. Andrew Fillipponi is joining us from 93.7 The Fan for just a few more minutes. And just want to mention, I think it was Jerry Dulock who said Steelers not trading George Pickens. That was the latest. If anyone thought they were, it's going to be Pickens and Metcalf. I mean, on the outside, we're kind of curious how that's going to work, to be honest with you, Andrew. Okay.
I don't think it will. I'll answer that for you very directly. I don't think that is going to have a happy ending.
And so obviously then it would be Pickens to go, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they gave Metcalf that money. They traded a second-round pick for him. George made kind of a fool of himself at the end of last season, and if not for Mike Tomlin's stubbornness and wanting to always default back to being the guy who says he's highly compensated and can get the most out of players, I think most intelligent organizations would have already washed their hands of that player.
Pony, want to play a quick game for you really quickly about Pittsburgh athletes and sort of pecking order of fame and excitement right now. So let's set this up. Two athletes walk into a restaurant. Who's creating more buzz right now, TJ Watt or Paul Skeens?
I'd say Skeens. And obviously the baseball teams, their popularity and their approval rating is about as low as it can possibly get.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get blamed for that whatsoever. If anything, he's the reason why people are so frustrated and angry, because the Pirates have this once-in-a-lifetime player, and they're not doing enough around him. So there's absolutely a buzz about him. I don't think it hurts that Livy Dunn is his girlfriend. And then I think with Watt, you'd be astonished maybe by the amount of people we talk to who are like, screw this guy. Don't give him Myles Garrett's contract. He's never won a playoff game. He disappeared at the end of last year. He didn't make any plays in the playoff game against the Ravens. During that 5-game losing streak, he was practically invisible. He does not get the gravitas that Troy Polamalu or any of those Steelers from the 70s get here, even though he's a first-ballot Hall of Famer. So, yeah, I think that's an easy one. I mean, my personal opinion on Watt is that the Steelers should be trying to trade him, and they shouldn't make the mistake that the Browns did, where they placate the guy and give him a contract just because they want to keep up with the Joneses. He's 30 years old. Your team, in my opinion, is not very close to winning a championship. I think the Steelers of the past would flip him for as much as they could in the draft and try to replenish with younger players, and they have a great history of finding edge rushers. So that's what they should do, but my guess is they'll cave in and give in at some point and give him the money that he wants.
Last one for you, and thanks again for doing this. We know you're busy and got family stuff and your own show today.
Now she's Potato Head. Now she's moved on, so we're okay.
93.7 The Fan. I know just how quickly kids move on, right? Last one for you, and if you gave Sidney Crosby some truth serum, we're talking to Andrew Fillipponi, 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh. If you gave him truth serum, how chapped do you think he was that Ovechkin got all of this attention when he broke Gretzky's scoring record?
You know what? I don't think he is. I think the relationship that I described between Watt and Garrett has a lot more malice and meanness to it than Ovechkin and Sid. I think it's evolved a lot over the years. I think at first, Ovechkin in their playoff series, back when the Penguins won the Cup in 2009, I mean, he deliberately injured one of the Penguins defensemen in a game. He'd headhunt Malkin. I don't think they liked each other. I do think that Sid, not just because he's an extremely competitive person, but I do think it meant something extra for him to beat Ovechkin. Now I think it's just like a mutual admiration society. Mm-hmm. I think those two guys love each other and respect the fact. And, I think that there's so much pride in kind of carrying the mail for the NHL for 2 decades and being guys that came in at the same time with just humongous expectations to save the sport after the lockout, and they both delivered on that promise and then some. So I don't think those guys are hanging out anytime soon. But I like what Ovechkin said after he broke the record. He said, I'd love to get together with Sid and have a few beers, which is right up Ovi's alley, and just kind of go back and reminisce about his careers. And I think he actually means that genuinely, and I think that Sid would take him up on that offer. So I think things have smoothed over. They play each other tonight. I honestly would not be surprised if the Penguins, the Capitals' arch rival, did something to celebrate what Ovechkin did.
Wow.
And if there isn't some kind of moment either before the game or during commercial break or intermission where those two guys like pose for a picture or do something together, I really wouldn't be shocked by that at all.
Real quick follow-up on Maggie's question, walking into a restaurant. Who's the all-time number one walk into a restaurant Pittsburgh guy? Who's the number one? I'm from Philadelphia. It's probably Dr. J. Who's that guy in Pittsburgh?
You know, the old heads would say Joe Green. I think the guys who have been Steelers fans forever, like my dad's generation, would say him. I'd say among players of like the last 30 or so years, I think it's a toss-up between Sid and Polamalu. I think the reverence for Troy is just off the charts here. Like, I've never, ever, whether it's about like him off the field or like, look, I mean, there's genuinely definitely a debate over whether or not he was better than Ed Reed. But so it's not even an open shut case that he was the best safety of his generation. And he definitely was not the most important player. That was Ben. But he's just so beloved. He's such a salt of the earth, down to earth guy that it would be one of those two guys. But Lemieux's also up there. I can't leave him out. I mean, he saved the Penguins, and the only reason why they're still in Pittsburgh is because he bought the team and got it out of bankruptcy. So.
Pony, can't tell you how much we appreciate this. Andrew Fillipponi, you can listen to him, 93.7 The Fan. There is so much going on in Pittsburgh right now between the Steelers quarterback situation.
But no one's winning. Our team's big.
Still interesting. Sometimes losing is interesting. Paul Skeens is there. All this great stuff happening in Pittsburgh. We appreciate it, Pony.
Okay, see you, Maggie. The raspberries. Bye, Perloff.
See ya.
Later.
I think the answer, and I'm not going to disagree with Andrew Fillipponi, who's doing a show every day in Pittsburgh. So he says Troy Polamalu and Sidney Crosby. That's totally right.
There's three Lemieux in there too.
Yeah, Lemieux. I think the answer, may he rest in peace, is Franco Harris. I mean, Franco Harris is the guy who's got the statue at the airport. You are greeted.
So that's interesting. You put Franco over Bradshaw.
But you fly into Pittsburgh,
yeah.
Okay? You get off the plane, and it feels like every gate goes to the same place, and you get funneled to the same escalator, and it's the statue of Franco Harris.
Okay, I'm looking at a list that I got. I mean, you got Lemieux's a giant. Yeah. Clemente's a giant.
Well, okay, but now we're going back.
But you also, Willie Stargell's a giant. Joe Green's a giant. This is a city of giants.
Yeah.
I think Franco... I mean, first of all, Franco has too much competition on his own team. And Sidney and Mario Lemieux, God, I mean, this is probably one of the best Mount Rushmores there is. I got Franco at number 5, Big Ben at 6.
Ben's controversial, though.
Yeah.
You know, because he's got the off-the-field stuff.
I think he's top 10, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Terry Bradshaw, nobody said, by the way, who's probably
Very
actually the most recognizable because he's been on TV and movies and been in our lives for so long.
I recently watched a Terry Bradshaw Football Life before. Wildly controversial, like turned his back on the city, turned his back on the team, turned his back, had a lot of mental health issues that he talks about. But I mean,
he's the biggest celebrity, though.
Yes, but I don't think he's beloved like Troy Polamalu, by the way, is hysterical in commercials. He's like, you know how Brian Dawkins is a god in Philadelphia?
Yep.
Yeah, I love. Remember, we're going to do that Mount Rushmores of every city.
Don't give it away, Pearl.
Oh, Pittsburgh's is amazing. Except their baseball team, they have all these guys, and then they leave.
Well, that's the organization's fault.
I was about to say, you better get Paul Skeens in that restaurant soon because he's going to be walking into a New York restaurant in about 4 years.
You mentioned Barry Bonds. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Thank you to Andrew Fillipponi. Pony says no to Rodgers, rather go with Mason Rudolph at this point. I get where he's coming from. I don't think that's what the organization is thinking, though. I would imagine they are still holding out hope that Rodgers either has a change of heart or somehow just shows up. I don't know.
I'm chill. I just had to Google, is Carson Wentz signed anywhere? It's inevitable, Maggie.
Stop making Wentz a thing. He's not good in the state of Pennsylvania. It's like oil and water.
What are you talking about? almost won an MVP in the state of Pennsylvania.
And then what happened?
Crazy.
888-710-4ISN. Okay, lots to do, including, yes, the one quarterback that has certainly now become the apple of the eye of so many GMs. Didn't see this guy coming 2 weeks ago. So we'll tell you who it is next, MP.
Okay, so you're not into raspberries.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Took the wrong quote, now the whole squad's mad. Drag Maggie's name through the dirt so quick when it was Perloff talking all that spit. Now Steelers Nation's got torches lit, thinking Maggie's lost her wit. But y'all don't fact check for a bit, so let's talk about who's really full of Steelers Depot, get your facts in check. Blame the wrong one, man, show some respect. Perloff said it, but Maggie gets wrecked. Now your credibility's looking suspect. Lifetime contract, yeah, Perloff's take. The Depot's rushing just to make clickbait. Didn't even bother to hit replay. Now Maggie's out here fighting the hate. Now Twitter's wild like she's on crack. Just cause Depot ain't watched the track. Y'all spread a lie, now it won't go back. Hope y'all enjoyed that clown contract. Where's Bellotti? Or still MIA? Calls it a job, but he don't stay. Skip more shifts than Depot skips stacks. Maybe he in truth got a secret pact. Now Steelers fans acting like they found the pipe, like Maggie's out here smoking at night. Just cause Depot got the names all wrong, now they think she's chief and that strong. Steelers Depot, get your facts in check. Blame the wrong one, man, show some respect. Perloff said it, but Maggie gets wrecked. Now your credibility's looking suspect. Next time you want to twist the tape, try listening before you make that mistake. Depot disaster, that's your name. Bellotti still ghosts the game. Yo, Steelers Depot, y'all messed up bad. Took the wrong quote, now the whole squad's mad. Drag Maggie's name through the dirt so quick when it was Perloff talking all that spit. Now Steelers Nation's got torches lit, thinking Maggie's lost her way. Yo! I've been in the game for 37 years, making beats, rocking shows, facing all my fears. Now I'm here, dropping knowledge for the crew. Got a feel of break music that'll blow right through. I'll write a theme 10 times, better you'll see. Catchy hooks and rhythm, it's guaranteed. But there's one thing that's always getting to me. Beat of the lie, where's he been? No guarantee. I'm the realist, putting tracks on fire, spitting bars that'll take you higher and higher. Been in the studio while Peter's been gone, now I'm here dropping beats all night long. I'll write a few 10 times, better you'll see. Catchy hooks and rhythm, it's guaranteed. But there's one thing that's always getting to me. Peter the lie, where's he been? No guarantee. I'm the realist, yeah, that's my name. Got hits for days and I'm changing the game while Peter's still ghosting.
Drunk as Sam stumbled into work at night, smelling like a whiskey, cheap boxed wine. Tried to flirt with Lisa from accounting again, but HR warned and that's strike number 10. Oh Sam, you gotta read the room. You ain't Casanova, you're just full of booms. Where the hell is Peter Bellotti? Did he call in sick or win the damn lottery? Nobody's seen him since 2:15. Was it a long night or a rendezvous? Oh Bellotti, did you ghost us for good? Or are you just stuck in your neighborhood? Sam sent an email, slurred every word. Called the boss, baby man, that's absurd. Tried to high-five, but he missed by a mile. Knocked over the coffee, still flashing a smile. Then he said, I may get too familiar too soon. I am told by HR and writing, yeah, that's getting old. Where the hell is Peter Bellotti? Was he trapped in traffic or hiding in the lobby?
shoulder riding, yeah, that's getting old. Where the hell is Peter Bellotti? Was he trapped in traffic or hiding in the lobby? Phones keep ringing, but he won't pick up. Left Maggie and Perloff to clean this up. Maybe he's in Vegas, maybe he's in Spain, or maybe he just hit snooze again. We got dinner date.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff show. Man, I kind of wish I was a Pittsburgh sports fan. This sounds so fascinating at all times. We're just going over great Pittsburgh athletes. Do you guys know the movie The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh? Anyone know this movie?
Yeah.
Dr. J was a fictional basketball player.
Yeah, but so we just talked to Andrew Fillipponi from 93.7 The Fan of Pittsburgh about the Aaron Rodgers situation and about what's going on with Paul Skeens and everything. But he said, yeah, they're interesting, but nobody's winning. So do you really want to be a Pittsburgh sports fan right now?
You have a lot of history. And you can take the Pitt guys. You can take Marino and Tony Dorsett. You have a lot of things to go with
Aaron Donald?
Yeah, Aaron Donald.
Kenny Pickett.
Wow.
Kenny Pickett. You have all the you have the high school quarterbacks. Used to be the cradle quarterbacks. It does feel like a lot of the past now that I go over that.
Well, I mean, Crosby's playing tonight.
Yeah.
Again,
my vibe from Fillipponi is he wants a reset. He wants to tank.
The Shedeur Sanders thing, or Shedeur, for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who obviously need a starting quarterback right now. And I think Shedeur is good for a lot of different teams. Whether you're the Giants and you need to move on from the Daniel Jones situation, whether you're Pittsburgh and you're still trying to find the heir apparent to Ben Roethlisberger. No one's going to compare him to Ben Roethlisberger. No one's going to compare him to Kenny Pickett. I just think Shedeur's his own thing. I think New Orleans should be interested. There's so many things about him. I'm not saying he's going to blow you away as the biggest prospect, but I think he can come in and start right away. And I think that he can handle it, whatever it is, that whether it's being the face of the franchise, whether it's trying to turn the page from a lot of losing, I think he can handle all of it.
Yeah, I think he's a terrible idea for Pittsburgh. And Fillipponi actually convinced me of that because their offense is going to stink because Arthur Smith is the offensive coordinator. Here's a question. I got away from what I think the meta message. I'd rather be 3-14 than 10-7. Shedeur Sanders gets you a lot of 10-7. That's what I think. And Pony's like, this is not a great fit because it's not the kind of offense. Shedeur with the right offensive coordinator can probably put up huge numbers. He ain't going to do it in Pittsburgh. They're just going to be good. I think there's enough good. We need to be really bad and get a generational guy. That's what I heard from him. Where to me, Shedeur is much like. He's kind of a Kirk Cousins type. Very, very productive.
Okay, but here's the thing. You can tell me that the Pittsburgh Steelers could go into the season with Mason Rudolph and trade TJ Watt on draft night and look at a 3-win season.
Right.
Are you firing Arthur Smith? Because if you bring in, say you get Arch Manning, I mean, you could say whatever you want. If you're going to keep that offense, then you're never going to be satisfied. You, Andrew Perloff, you're never going to be satisfied. You're never going to think that they're a Super Bowl contender. You're never going to think this is real as long as, I think what I'm reading between the lines here is that Mike Tomlin's holding him back.
No, but if you get somebody who's so transcendently talented, like a Big Ben, they can overcome all that. I think Shedeur needs to be in the right spot. I think everyone.
Big Ben had Bruce Arians. Big Ben had really good offensive coordinators at times.
Big Ben dropped back and he shed tacklers like they were not even there, and he was fast and he could throw the ball a million miles an hour. You could overcome a lot.
He also had a great offensive line. He had Le'Veon Bell. He had good receivers who were head cases, but they were good. I mean, he had what's his face? Just went in the Hall of Fame. He had a great offensive line.
But you think of
LSU, I can't.
If you think of a Faneca,
thank you.
If you think of a system guy, Big Ben is not that. He does not doesn't run the system, holds on to the ball forever. That was not Big Ben. I think system guy, I think smaller, really got rhythm passer, needs to go through his reads. Big Ben would just drop back and be like, you can't tackle me. I'm just going to find one of my talented receivers downfield. Sorry, EJ, you were
No, I was going to say, but he did have good offensive staff, right?
Yeah.
Ken Wisenhunt, you mentioned Bruce Arians, Russ Grimm coaching offensive line. I think that does help because we can talk about Ben's what he does well. We also talk about his shortcomings, and I think some of the stuff was masked because they always ran the ball well. They were great at trick plays, of course, the touchdown pass thrown by the wide receiver, in the Super Bowl, the first one they won. I do think that the coaching definitely helped, but also Shedeur Sanders, I wouldn't not draft him because I have a bad coach right now. He's gonna outlive Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith's not going to be the Pittsburgh offensive coordinator for 10 years. So to me, if I was Pittsburgh, regardless of the fit, I'd say if he's the best quarterback and I need a quarterback, you take him without even caring about Arthur Smith.
I agree. Let's go to Dominic. He's in San Francisco. Dom, what's up, dude?
Hi, thanks for taking my call. That was a great spot from that guy from Pittsburgh. As far as the icon walking into the restaurant, don't you think it should be Roberto Clemente?
That's what Perloff said. I posed a question. Let me catch the rest of the audience up to that. I posed a question to Andrew Fillipponi, who's in Pittsburgh and does radio there. I said, if you're in a restaurant and TJ Watt walks in or Paul Skeens walks in, who's going to get more buzz? Like, who's going to get more people talking? And he said right now, Paul Skeens. Then Perloff asked, well, who's the all-time athlete from Pittsburgh who could walk into a restaurant? Who gets the most buzz? Yes, Clemente, legendary, of course.
Another thing, if I may, real quick, as far as Ovechkin, and they keep saying scoring record, he'll never get a sniff if he lives 2 lifetimes of Gretzky's scoring record.
Goals scored record.
He has gold.
Goals scored record.
But as far as scoring record goes, he's way behind.
No, Wayne's got that one. I should have said goals scored record, Dom. Thanks so much for the correction there. I thought it was interesting, Crosby and Ovechkin, who are playing tonight, they were just it was so great for the NHL Pro that they were such big rivals and didn't like each other. But now, guys get older, start reminiscing a little bit more, start thinking about the good old days. And I guess Fillipponi was saying he wouldn't be surprised if the Penguins actually did something for Gretzky in the game tonight, which I find crazy.
Okay, so you're not into raspberries.
I'll take your word for it. Yeah, I don't know.
I just didn't think they would do that.
Yeah. I mean, Crosby and Ovechkin, do you really think they were that engaged with each other through the years?
Yeah, I do think that meeting in the playoffs and the headhunting that Ovechkin was doing on Malkin, I think that leads to bad blood.
I've been watching a lot of media on Ovechkin. He feels a little Jokic to me.
No.
Oh my God, that dude loves his beer. That is very clear.
And what were you
talking
talking about?
Like at least an older Ovechkin doesn't seem as super engaged.
No,
it's just like I go out there, I play hockey, and I drink beer after the game. I'm getting that sense from him.
He just chased down Gretzky at 40 years old.
Yeah, I mean, Joker's the greatest NBA player of our generation. He doesn't get all caught up in these small things. Ovechkin seems a little like beyond it all. I think an older Ovechkin is not like, I'm not surprised that they moved past this rivalry. You don't sense that like he's sort of not I don't know. You know what I mean? Like he's closer to Joker. There's no commonalities there. You don't see that?
Well, I think we're talking. I'm not exactly sure. So
I'm just saying, like,
Joker's
he's not,
reputation is that he doesn't care about basketball and he'd rather be on a farm in Serbia. I do not get the sense that Alexander Ovechkin doesn't care about hockey.
I feel like he doesn't live and breathe all of the hoopla around him. I noticed I felt like Ovechkin seemed less excited about the record than everybody else was to me. I felt like he has a style where it's like, yeah, you know what, at the end of the game, this was amazing. I'm very proud of myself, but pass the Bud Light.
Well, I think
which reminds me of Joker a little bit.
I guess.
I think he's more of a party animal. I think maybe it's different.
Joker's not a party.
No.
Ovechkin's like Russian Gronk.
Right, exactly.
Right. Not like
what's the name? Joker is almost like indifferent. I don't
see the same.
I don't strike Ovechkin doesn't strike me as indifferent.
He
just celebrates hard.
Yeah, he strikes me as a little Gronk-like though, in the sense that like right now he seems to love everybody, whereas like Brady was a killer. You know, he's not Kobe-ish to me, but
that's true.
You guys know more about him. It just doesn't strike me as like I'm gonna play my game. I'm not out here to like denigrate other people. It sounded like everybody was into this. Every single player in the NHL.
I know. I'm having trouble wrapping my brain around it because I'm like, you're telling me Gretzky's not just a little bit miffed that one of his, I know he's got 1 million records, but the goal scored record, it doesn't get to die with him. And then, same thing about Crosby. These guys were rivals for so long. I know Crosby's got Ovechkin on Stanley Cups, but, they were the faces of the league forever. And Crosby, yes, is thought of as the better player, but now Ovechkin's getting this hero celebration every place he goes. This is what I know about athletes. They love each other, kind of, but they love themselves more. And I think they always are very protective of their legacies, whether they say it out loud or not, even Jokic.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I don't know. I mean, Jokic definitely doesn't care. I don't agree with that.
If
also,
he didn't care,
a lot of
he'd
these
be gone.
hockey players are Canadians. They're really nice.
They're killers.
Yeah, no.
They're nice killers.
Nah, I don't know. They're genuinely nice.
Don't mistake friendly and nice for not intense on the ice.
I think there's a different. I think you're misreading hockey culture a little bit. And I do.
I am.
Yeah, I don't think it's exactly as you described.
I think some of that Joker stuff also is a game.
I
think you're because that guy gets technical fouls. He's gotten ejected from games for just going after referees. He's blown up Markieff Morris in a game. Like he's not like this. Oh, I don't care about basketball. I just go like he's intense.
I think he's kind of playing into the bit a little bit too about he didn't want to go to the parade because he wanted to go home. He still wanted to win the title. The other part too is, he in my opinion, Michael Malone is still the head coach if Joker still wants him there. So I think in some ways he may have ordered the code red on the coach getting fired. You're telling me there's not an owner alive who doesn't consult with his star player like that before they make that kind of decision?
Well, he said Kroenke came to him and said the decision was made. Yeah. So he was like, I'm not going to tell you how I feel about it. I don't know if he wanted that to happen.
I also think Joker, the day the season's over, I don't think he watches 1 second of NBA. Like, I bet you Kobe studied everything and was watching SportsCenter. I don't think Joker engages with the NBA the day he leaves.
He played in the Olympics.
I don't know. I've played with people like this before. We all have who just didn't seem to care about. We're better than everybody. Like, God, I try so damn hard, and this guy barely just shows up, rips off his sweatpants, and is dropping 35. I just think he's one of those guys. I don't think he cares about the NBA like we do.
Maybe he moves in silence. Maybe he actually is working really hard. He's just not putting out there on Instagram like every weight that Jason Tatum lifts has been documented somewhere.
I just don't think he cares about the NBA storylines like we do. I think a lot of athletes kind of laugh at us for like, why are you breaking down this, that, and the other thing? I think they just they see it as a job. They do their job and they go home, and they could still be great.
Right.
Ovechkin does his job, opens a six-pack, and he says, let's party.
Straight to the bar and then swimming in a fountain.
He just basically called him, I think you're underestimating how much of a problem drinker Alexander Ovechkin
is. He's a party animal.
Guy is a party. He is.
Yeah,
He's a party animal. That guy, I've never seen that guy not with either a hockey stick or a bud.
Meanwhile, LeBron gets off the court and is like, now I have to work out for 2.5 hours. And Kobe
LeBron
went
sleeps
home.
On a Versa climber.
Kobe went home and watched 7 hours of tape before the next game 63 against Memphis. I just think that some guys are cut out differently.
Andrew Bogusch is here with headlines for us.
Stay alive.
Guys, a year ago, Klay Thompson was still a Warrior, missing all 10 shots he took in a play-in loss to the Kings.
That doesn't sound good.
Last night, as a Maverick against the Kings again, no such issues.
Exum against Carter. Right to left. Scoop it. Thompson again for three. Yes!
1-2-3, and you guess what your reward is for winning Game 7? Another Game 7.
Mavs radio is setting the scene. Dallas gets to play Memphis for the last spot in the West bracket tomorrow night. After this, 120-106 win in Sacramento. 5 threes, 23 points from Klay.
I thought I did a good job tonight of not forcing it. Human nature, when you have a season on a sour note like that, you want to come out here and prove people wrong, but I did a good job at the start of the game, trying to dish, rebound, play defense, and then the shots came to me after that.
The Kings, meanwhile, are done and are reportedly about to break up with GM Monty McNair after 5 seasons.
Freaking
Bulls also heading into the offseason after losing at home to the Heat 109-90. This game kind of over at halftime when Miami led 71-47. Eric Spoelstra's team has now won 9 of its last 13 games.
Guys feel great about this win. Really put a lot into this. This is not something that could just happen overnight. We feel like there's been some good things happening the last several weeks, and this is the first time we've been mostly whole in a while where guys feel good.
Tyler Hero led the attack with 38 last night. The Heat and Hawks in Atlanta tomorrow night for the 8th seed in the East. That gets them their first round date with the Cavaliers. As you guys have been discussing all morning, depending on whom you read, former Tennessee QB Nico Iamaleava is close to, might be, probably is transferring to UCLA. An ESPN report says the Bruins are not offering anything close to the $4 million that the family was asking the Vols for. There is also a rule change now in college football to combat fake injuries starting this fall. If the training staff comes on the field to treat a player after the ball has been spotted for the next play, that team's charged a timeout or gets a 5-yard delay of game penalty if it's out of timeouts.
Wow.
It's us and
Wait.
USC.
Explain that rule again. I'm sorry.
So this is to combat guys who, like, as the ball is being snapped, are like sitting down going, oh, I have a cramp. So if the ball has been spotted already, and then a guy goes, oh, I'm hurt, and the training staff comes out, that is automatically a timeout, or it's a penalty if you don't have a timeout to use.
What if the guy is hurt?
What if he's genuinely hurt?
No. What if the training staff doesn't run out and is
and he has to crawl off the field?
Yeah, the only way, I just didn't remember the connection. The only way to get the timeout is if the training staff actually runs onto the field. I guess that's how
the guy is hurt like from the moment the previous play ends.
Yeah, because I've seen guys fake. I never even thought about it's only official if the training staff runs out.
Can I play it in a scenario for you? Sometimes your adrenaline is going so much. Listen, guys are faking injuries all the time. The coaching staff is telling them to do it, by the way. There's a sign, a signal that says, go down.
Yeah, we all know.
We know. But here's the thing. Sometimes guys do get hurt, and they'll pop right back up because the adrenaline, and then they'll take a few steps, and then they'll kind of crumble to the ground. That's a real injury. You're going to get charged a timeout there?
Yeah, I guess. Or they're going to try to use common sense because they didn't have a way to use common sense when a guy just was like, oh, my leg hurts, and sat down for a second.
I think they should make the rule, any injuries, you have to take a timeout. I mean, otherwise, for them to play judge makes no sense.
It doesn't, but the problem with that is you could legitimately have 3 actual injuries and then you have no timeouts left. That's not your fault either. You can't be that penalized for guys just having the bad luck of getting hurt.
Can you imagine someone has heaven forbid, but a bone sticking out of your body, and it's we can't call timeout.
Yeah,
just limp over.
Suck
here.
it up, Jimmy.
Sheesh.
A baseball rarity yesterday. For the first time since 2009, 5 former number 1 overall picks all went deep on the same day. The group including Bryce Harper and Jackson Holliday.
1 ball, no strikes. Here it comes. Holliday hits it in the air, deep left center field. Thomas on his way back. He's at the track. He's at the wall. It is bullpen bound, and it's a grand slam.
On Orioles radio, Jackson Holliday helping Baltimore beat Cleveland 9-1 16 years ago. The 5 number 1s that went deep were A-Rod, Griffey, Josh Hamilton, Joe Mauer, and Pat Burrell.
Wow.
And finally, the NHL's playoff field is set. There's 1 night left of the regular season. The Canadiens clinching the 2nd East wildcard with a 4-2 win over the Hurricanes. Montreal gets top-seeded Washington in round 1. Guys, back to you.
Hey, Maggie, do you remember Pat Burrell?
Hey, I don't want to talk about Pat Burrell.
Pat Burrell could hit against one team, my favorite Philly. Well, not one of my favorite. He could only hit against the Mets. Hit 450 against the Mets. It was the best.
Didn't he smash his face into the wall at Citizens Bank Park in center field?
No, that was Aaron Rowand. Pat Burrell was not athletic enough to play center field.
No. He was playing first base, wasn't he, Pat Burrell?
Right field?
Right field.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry, Bugs, do you have the other number 1
I
picks who
have
hit
him
him
here.
yesterday?
I have him. Do you think you could name another one?
No, I was shocked.
There's one that you will not come close to getting.
There's a couple. I don't.
Is it that shortstop from Vanderbilt? That was years ago now.
The shortstop from Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
What a great description.
Royce something. Remember that guy was the number 1 pick?
No.
Rory McIlroy.
Royce something. Wasn't there a number 1 pick out of Vanderbilt? Am I crazy here? Okay, I have no idea.
A lot of the Vandy guys are pitchers.
I don't know where Royce Lewis went. He's on the Twins now.
Okay, who are the guys?
Bogusch gave you the easiest
Yes,
ones.
Bryce Harper, Jackson Holliday. You've got those 2.
There was one that was selected first overall by the Phillies.
But it's not on the Phillies anymore,
It's not
right?
on the Phillies anymore, no.
I don't know.
Yeah, this is going to be painful. Do you want to read them or me? But go ahead.
I don't
first.
have all of them in front of me right now.
So it's Bryce Harper, Jackson Holliday, Spencer Torkelson, Mickey Moniak, and Henry Davis.
Oh, Moniak, yeah.
Yeah.
That was 2016. I don't even know what team he's on right now.
Wow.
The one that he just hit a home run for.
Thank you, Manny. Henry Davis was in the news as well because the other day he caught Paul Skeens, and it was the first time ever, I think, that a number 1 overall pitcher was caught by a number 1 overall catcher in the same game.
Yep, first battery that both picks were number 1 overall.
Mickey Moniak plays for your Colorado Rockies.
Wow. Are you really in the majors?
No.
Oh.
I wasn't that far off with the Royce Lewis. Yeah, there
that's
you
a
go.
Bogusch.
Yeah. Number 1 pick 2017. I can't believe I knew that.
Out of high school or out of Vandy?
You knew it-ish. You're in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
Did he go to Vandy?
No, that I'm trying to find out.
And he doesn't play shortstop in the majors.
Probably committed to Vandy, but got picked so high that he just went pro.
I mean, the MLB draft, that's one of the funniest ones because it's so random.
It makes
Once in
no
a while,
sense.
we know a guy. Most years, we're like, who?
Once in a while, you get like Russell Wilson and Tim Tebow drafted.
Yeah. Usually, if it's not somebody who played son, then I don't really know. But
Yes.
Jackson Holiday, I remember.
Oh, yeah, because it's Matt Holiday's son.
And Matt doesn't seem like he was playing all that long ago.
I know. That's the one that's been tough for me in baseball.
Yankee legend Matt Holliday.
Okay, so I combined Royce Lewis, who was a 2017 number one pick, with 2015 number one pick Dansby Swanson. I was like, some kind of fancy name. That's not that far off. I mean, that was both
Not that far on either.
Could have gone deep last night. Who knows?
I guess. It's possible. Okay, coming up, we have the guy who's been flying up draft boards. One coach is calling him the best quarterback in the draft. Obviously, it's not Cam Ward. We'll tell you who it is next. MMP.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
That Sunny Delight still exists. That's an upset. There's no oranges in that thing. Welcome back to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Sorry, I thought that, in a healthier,
Sunny D, yeah.
a healthier world that we live in.
Yoo-hoo's also still a thing.
Who?
Yoo-hoo.
I am weirdly like Yoo-hoo, and people make fun of me for that.
It's chocolate water,
I
isn't
love
it?
that chocolate
It's
water.
chocolate milk with no milk.
Right.
It's got a weird flavor, too. But it's been around for years.
I don't think I've ever had a Yoo-hoo. That's not doing it for me.
You guys, know what my favorite is? Strawberry Quick.
Oh yeah, no, I like a little.
Yeah, you don't like strawberry milk stuff?
Nah.
That Nesquik like pre-made milk stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's good. Give it a little shake.
I get this thing now. It's some of my bougie cereal, like Whole Foods. It's a protein shake, but it's really just chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's like healthy, but then you don't read the ingredients or.
No, never.
They're like no sugar, but it's sweet. So how come? Yeah, I don't know.
At one point, the chocolate milk lobby was working very hard to get into the athlete space and the sports space. I once remember at Sports Illustrated interviewing Apollo Anton Ono, who was trying to convince me that chocolate milk was good for your recovery.
I
was like,
remember that.
Whatever you say, dude. Cool soul patch.
Sponsored by studies sponsored by by cows.
By Hershey's.
Yeah, it was crazy. That chocolate milk thing.
Did you say nice soul patch?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
He was a cool guy, actually. Okay, let's get to insider Diana Orsini, who's got some juicy tidbits on next week's NFL draft, which is a week from today in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The guy whose stock is rising the most. Take it, Diana.
And Tyler Shough is a player in this draft who I can tell you a week out from the draft, his stock is rising. He is a name that I am hearing in league circles way more now than I was just 3 weeks ago in terms of a QB on the board that could be taken in the first round.
Okay, so how good is Tyler Shough, the 7th-year college player, most recently from Louisville?
I had a head coach in the NFL, a current one, tell me that he thinks that Tyler Shough is the best quarterback in this class. And I even said, better than Cam Ward? He said, better than Cam Ward. So
really,
this is why the draft is such a gamble. You don't know. You don't know.
So there you go. That's Diana Orsini. At least one coach thinks that he's the best quarterback in this draft. We had Dane Brugler on from The Athletic earlier in the show. If you missed it, Maggie and Perloff podcast, rewind function, whole deal, Sirius XM 375. Who said that he actually has seen that the traits are as good as anyone in the draft.
It's amazing. This is the most all over the place draft that you can hear that about a Tyler Shough. Mel Kiper has Shedeur Sanders is his number 1 over Cam Ward. Underdog Fantasy has Jalen Milroe QB2. I have no idea what's happening here. I have no idea. I know Cam Ward at 1, but I don't know Tyler Shough. I don't know Shedeur. I don't know Jalen Milroe. And I don't know Jackson Dart either.
So here's the other part. You're right. Nobody knows any of this stuff. But don't you think it is a little interesting that the NFL decided to invite Jalen Milroe, and I believe Tyler Shough got invited to the draft also. I mean,
did he say no?
So it's going to be Cam Ward, Jalen Milroe, Jackson Dart. I think those are your only quarterbacks who said yes. But the fact that they invited Shough, like they're not trying to embarrass guys. But these are dudes who have 2nd and 3rd round grades on them up until a week ago.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but when you say grades, so you saw the NFL grade on them?
No, but that's like that's the draft consensus grade.
Yeah, but that's the media.
That's true.
The NFL should know more than that, theoretically. Let's for Jalen Milroe.
I mean, they invited Will Levis to the draft in Kansas City, and that didn't work out well.
He went, 34th?
Yeah, but still, I mean, he sat there all night.
Right. So it's just they were close. Tyler Shough would he be thrilled to go 35? That'd be good. I think this year's draft class is because you have those teams at the top who are sitting there right there at the top of the second round. Yeah, I mean, if you're Tyler Shough and you come out of this at 34 to the Giants, that's a big
you are,
big
but I'm
success.
not going to Green Bay, so I can sit there all night in an uncomfortable suit just to not be taken and have a camera in my face. My girlfriend, he's married, his wife's face, parents, everyone. You're looking sad and aloof, checking your phone 100 times. Like, I'm over that draft storyline. I know the networks probably love it because we're watching this guy sit there and squirm and struggle, but I really don't need that anymore.
They wrote me off. I ain't right back, though.
Do you think there's any chance that Milroe does go first?
He's going to be there, so I hope he does because I don't want him to be the guy who we're just looking at his sad face all night.
Yeah, I did see. So he's the only player invited who has plus odds to go in the first round, but it's plus 120.
That's not
That's
much.
almost a coin flip.
Yeah.
Everybody else, there's 17 attendees. They don't expect it. Vegas doesn't expect any fallers yet. 17's not that many. Still, someone's going to fall.
Yeah, we know that teams lie to these guys constantly. Like the teams will tell you, oh, if you're there at 5, we're taking you at 5. They lie about this stuff all the time because we always hear after the fact when players say, yeah, so-and-so said they were going to take me at 5, and then all of a sudden here I went at 25.
Yeah. The one for me is Geno Smith. I mean, I couldn't believe every mock draft had him going 3 or 4 to the Raiders and just sat there until the top of the second round.
Thank you, EJ Stewart. Thank you to Manny Rodriguez, Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan. Thank you to Andrew Fillipponi, who joined us, Dane Brugler, who joined us. Again, if you miss any part of the Maggie and Perloff show, we got the podcast, we got the rewind function on Odyssey app. We are on Sirius XM channel 375, and we will see you tomorrow.